All right, I can't believe what I'm about to play for you. 2 days ago, friends started texting me saying, David, sir, are you watching this congressional hearing? The presidents of Harvard, MIT, and the University of Pennsylvania are being asked if people on your campus call for the genocide of Jews, does that violate the code of conduct for bullying and harassment? And not a single one of them said yes. And I thought to myself, there must be missing context here. There's absolutely no way that this is what happened. And it is exactly what happened. Now, I know there are people who are going to write to me and say, David, this is actually about Palestinians, or this is about Gaza, or this is about none of those things. This is about a problem that even Harvard now acknowledges what was said as a problem. Okay. So this is not just people saying this was a problem. And the blowback was so severe from the inability of these school presidents to just say, yeah, you can't call for genociding an ethnic group on campus. You just can't do it. Look at this. Look at this.
At MIT, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate MIT's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
If targeted at individuals, not making public statements.
Yes or no? Calling for the genocide of Jews does not constitute bullying and harassment?
I have not heard calling for the genocide for Jews on our campus.
But you've heard chants for intifada.
I've heard chants, which can be anti-Semitic depending on the context, when calling for the elimination of the Jewish people.
When you say, are people listening to this? Have we gone crazy? There are chants calling for eliminating the Jewish people. They might be anti-Semitic. They might be harassment, depending on the context. Oh, I wonder if that would be applied to other groups.
So those would not be according to the MIT's code of conduct or rules?
That would be investigated as harassment if pervasive and severe.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? How do you turn the speech of calling for genocide of Jews into conduct? Is she saying if they start trying to kill Jews, then it would be harassment? Well, but then it would be attempted murder, wouldn't it? What is happening?
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill. So is your testimony that you will not answer yes?
If it if the
yes
speech
or
becomes
no?
if the speech becomes conduct,
oh God,
it can be harassment. Yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? The speech is not harassment. This is unacceptable, Ms. McGill. I'm going to give you one more opportunity for the world to see your answer. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be harassment.
The answer is yes. And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual, at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. Do you understand your testimony is dehumanizing them? Do you understand that dehumanization is part of anti-Semitism? I will ask you one more time. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric.
And is it anti-Semitic rhetoric?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric, when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
It sounds like what she's saying is a group of students with signs saying, kill all the Jews, is okay as long as you don't get really close to a Jewish student with the sign, because then it's, what exactly are they saying? And I know that this is going to become a partisan thing about Israel and Gaza and Hamas and all these different things. It's not about that. Imagine replacing, are you allowed to call for the genocide of blacks on campus? Well, it depends on the context, just kind of depends. If it goes into conduct, then we would investigate it as harassment. Really? Oh, wow. Are you allowed to call for the genocide of women on the campus? It depends. It depends. You're certainly allowed to hold signs calling for the genocide of women, but if it starts to be intimidating, well, isn't the very fact that the signs are being held intimidating in and of itself? And there's this idea that it's all about the context. Not everything depends on context, okay? And what we have is a situation where for a long time, these public statements that have been made about, the George Floyd was murdered, okay? And the schools put out a statement and they denounce racism towards African Americans. Okay. Roe v. Wade is overturned. And there's a statement put out denouncing choice being taken away from women. These were statements which were really pretty easy statements. And you take a stand and basically everybody feels the same way. And it's all under the pursuit of some version of inclusion, and we're not going to offend and all these different things. And then all of a sudden, you have a different situation where these college presidents clearly are trying to sort of walk a line where they don't want to be seen as making a commentary, maybe about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that isn't actually about that. It's just, what groups are you allowed to target with signs calling for genocide on campus? We know they wouldn't allow it with women. We know they wouldn't allow it with blacks, and rightly so, by the way, calling for genocide of groups. But now when it comes to Jews, well, it sort of depends, and I'm not really sure, and there's a lot of different opinions, and there was a very easy answer to give here, and Harvard is now suffering some insane blowback. They put out the following statement after this disaster where they said, quote, "Statement from President Gay. There are some who have confused a right to free expression with the idea that Harvard will condone calls for violence against Jewish students. Let me be clear. Calls for violence or genocide against the Jewish community or any religious or ethnic group are vile. They have no place at Harvard, and those who threaten our Jewish students will be held to account." And again, even this statement, it recognizes that she really messed up, but it doesn't really say it's not allowed. Well, they're going to be held to account. Account might be nothing. They're saying that the statements are vile. Well, okay, but are
Is Joe Biden naked and on drugs? Take a listen.
We're here with the world's most dangerous man, the most censored man in the English language. But honestly, when you get him in front of an outhouse in the woods, he doesn't seem so dangerous.
It's a fancy outhouse.
Well, it's a fancy outhouse. Oh, these people are just the most absurd characters. And Alex Jones Tucker Carlson powwow in front of a bathroom in the great outdoors was definitely not on my 2023 bingo card, but here we are. So what did they talk about during what can only be described as the weirdest interview on X? Conspiracy theories, of course. Take a look.
You see the system, the media going after Biden, and he deserves it, but they were covering it up until now. Now they're covering the laptop. Now they're covering attack on the dog. Now they're covering, all of his senility, all the corruption, the Chinese spies.
Attacking a dog. What a pig he is. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I was told that by Secret Service and by people that, let's just say, work with them. And I'm going to leave it at that. But I actually have a contact for you. I'd like to be able to hear it from them. But when this is over, I'll let you actually hear it from yourself. I think they'll tell you off record. I think they're willing to talk to you. But yeah, he is completely out of his mind.
He is completely out of his mind. When Biden attacked a dog, he attacked a dog? He can't even walk. He can barely walk. He's got a very stiff gait. Dogs are quick and nimble. He didn't attack a dog. His dog attacked about 47 people. His dog commander, the U.S. Service has acknowledged, has bitten 11 people, and that's just considered to be an underreporting of that fact. While the Secret Service acknowledged 11 reported biting incidents involving its personnel, whose sources spoke to CNN, said the real numbers higher includes executive, resident staff, and other White House workers. Those bites have ranged in severity from one known bite requiring hospital treatment to some requiring attention from the White House medical unit to some going unreported and untreated. These incidents led to the removal of Commander from the White House grounds. But let me just kind of guess what Alex Jones would say about that. He was never removed. Commander, inside of his dog skin and 4 legs is JFK and JFK Jr. and the arms of President Reagan. The wagging tail is Nancy Reagan telling you not to do drugs, trying to control you in some sort of a nanny state. And we're not going to allow it here at InfoWars, nor are we going to allow it on Twitter, what used to be Twitter and is now X, a platform named after you regret something you wrote and you're trying to cross it out immediately. I'm Alex Jones. This is InfoWars. We'll be right back. That wasn't the only conspiracy theory covered in this mind-bogglingly, unbelievably stupid conversation with Tucker and Jones. Take a look at another.
Completely out of his mind. He wanders around for the entire 2.5 years. It's getting worse. Naked in the White House. In the middle of the night, doesn't know who he is. They have to give him a bunch of drugs, a bunch of amphetamines in the morning. Then they've got to drug him. At night, sometimes he's got to, though, he'll like be out for the morning for a while and then comes back out at night for a ball. That's when there's a real problem.
He is on drugs. I have established that. And I know someone who witnessed it. I'm not guessing at this. I know someone personally who witnessed him taking amphetamines. And this was during the 2020 election.
Yeah, okay. Okay, sure. President Donald, by the way, there's no actual evidence that Biden is on drugs other than what Tucker Carlson claims, as he also dumbfoundedly agrees with everything Alex Jones says. Wow, really? He's naked and on drugs? Yeah, I heard he took an amphetamine once. Unbelievable. President Donald Trump strongly demanded his Democratic opponent, Joe Biden, be drug tested for Tuesday's debate back in 2020. Only drugs could explain why
Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar was imprisoned in Israel more than a decade ago and got an inside look on Israel's psyche during that time. According to the Washington Post, Sinwar said that what Israel considers its strength, the fact that most Israelis serve in the army and soldiers hold a special status in society, it's actually a weakness that can be exploited.
And according to recent New York Times reporting, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had for years been encouraging payments the Qatari government had been sending to the Gaza Strip. Big question is, did Israel want those payments to continue? Netanyahu's critics now disparaging these payments as part of a strategy of, quote, buying time. The policy is in the middle of discussions following Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. Joining us now to discuss is senior correspondent at Vox, Zach Beecham. Welcome, Zach.
Hey, good to see you all again, even if, again, we're discussing maybe the most depressing topic on earth.
Very depressing topic indeed. Tell us more about these payments that it sounds like Netanyahu continued to be in support of. Tell us about what this money is ostensibly being used for and why, from the Netanyahu perspective, it was a good idea.
Look, so the basic idea behind these payments, right, facilitated via Qatar, sometimes very directly with Israeli support, was to prop up the Hamas government. Netanyahu has said as much, not in public, right? He doesn't openly admit this. He, in fact, denies it. But in reports of comments that he's made privately, that the basic idea here was you need to keep the Palestinians divided, right, between the Palestinian Authority, which governs the West Bank, and Hamas, which has governed Gaza since 2007. Now, why do you do that? In his mind, it's very simple, because Hamas is, or what it was thought to be prior to October 7th, more responsible than other Palestinian militant factions in Gaza. And second, and more importantly, because when the Palestinians are divided, there's very little pressure on Israel to make any kind of final two-state agreement, because there's no one to agree with, right? There's no unified Palestinian political structure. And so from the hardline Israeli point of view, Netanyahu's point of view, this is perfect. This is ideal. We can keep doing whatever we want, and we don't have to worry about the pesky international community as long as there are these like violent fanatics in charge of Gaza. So it was sort of a win-win from his point of view prior to October 7th, which changed everything, right? Because it showed that this entire calculation that Israel could kind of buy a certain kind of quiet from Hamas by quietly supporting them on the security front just was wrong, just entirely wrong.
And can you speak to this other aspect that you bring up here? The Washington Post reporting about what Sinwar learned, having been in prison in Israel for all of those years. How is it that so many Israelis serving as part of the mandatory service in the military is a vulnerability for the country?
Yeah, so the basic idea behind Sinwar, who's sort of the mirror image hardliner on the Palestinian side, right, is that you can take advantage of Israelis' sense of compassion and commitment to treating their soldiers well, and of caring about what happens to the community as a whole in the sense of collective concern for Israeli citizens, including captured soldiers, right? The idea is that when he was released from prison, he was in prison for quite a long time. It was in exchange for a captured Israeli soldier named Gilad Shalit, where to get Shalit out, Israel freed something like 1,000 Palestinian prisoners, many of whom, like Sinwar, were there on life sentences. The offenses he was accused of committing, and he seems to have done, were pretty egregious, including the murder of about 11 Palestinians that we know of. And, he was released because Palestinian militants leveraged Israel's valuation of the lives of its soldiers against Israel to get out people that they could then use to conduct future operations against Israel. And Sinwar, having learned Hebrew, studying Israeli broadcasts, realized that he could take advantage of this strategy. And it appears that this was part of the tactical calculation before October 7th, was that you capture a lot of Israelis and you force Israel to give you some very valuable things by capturing them in exchange.
How does that square with what we know about kind of who's been released so far in these exchange programs? There's been reporting that Israel has captured as many or more Palestinians from the West Bank that they have released as part of the hostage exchange program. And also there's been a great deal of reporting about the nature of the people that Israel has released, who, unlike this gentleman that you're talking about here, Sinwar, seem to have been disproportionately children and women and people who have not been charged with crimes.
Yeah. So the basic logic here on the Hamas side and certain terms of the people who they want released is not just to get out militants this time around, right? Though many of those people, when you say children, some of them are like 17 years old and are charged with significant offenses. So it sort of gets a little complicated. The women too in this case, right?
The question I'm asking is
so
that
it's
reporting has been overwhelming that the bulk of the people released have not actually been charged with anything. And many of them, 17-year-olds are children, but they're also people much younger than that, and women. And again, regardless if they're adults, if they're not charged with anything, that paints a very different picture than who Sinwar was, right? Someone who was charged with crimes that I think are, to your point, are not in dispute.
Yeah. Israel has this system called administrative detention that they use to hold Palestinians without charge. There are significant allegations of abuse in the system. Human rights groups have a lot of problems with it. It is part of the sort of really cruel system that Israel uses to control Palestinian lives and maintain the occupation of the West Bank. All of that is true. And a lot of what's happening and what Hamas is trying to do, it's like these aren't just, though they're unlikely to be just random people, though I'm sure there are cases of people, random Palestinians who are
You've probably been hearing and seeing these words a lot in the news right now: war and conflict. It's pretty easy to use those terms to describe not only the current Israeli assault on Gaza, but even what is popularly referred to as the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. But how useful and accurate are terms like war and conflict in describing what is happening right now and what has happened over 75 years? Welcome to the Occupation Style Guide, a series that looks at how we talk about the things we talk about and the words we use. Israel-Hamas war, Israel-Gaza war, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, these roll off the tongue easily. But the words war and conflict, especially as they're used in the context of the Israeli occupation and current assault on Gaza, end up obscuring two main things: the context of violence and the reality of violence. Here's the Associated Press style guide specifying why they use the term war to describe the current Israeli assault on Gaza. According to the AP, the decision was made because of, quote, the high number of casualties, the mobilization of armies, the organized cross-border fighting and bombardments, and Israel's declaration of war and announcement that Gaza will be under siege. Most newsrooms have followed AP's lead and have been referring to the current assault as a war between Israel and Hamas, or Israel and Gaza, a characterization we aren't using here at AJ+. The problem isn't necessarily with the use of war, but how it's been used. Israel-Hamas war, even by AP's own breakdown of considerations, and even the term conflict, equates unequal parties in a situation where there is a recognized occupier and recognized occupied. The terms, as they've been used, also insinuate a situation of violence between sovereign countries with established borders and militaries. And this is not the case with the occupied Palestinian territories and Israel. There is, of course, nothing equal between Palestinians and Israelis in their capacities for violence. Israel declared war on October 7th following the surprise attack by Palestinian groups that killed 1,200 Israeli civilians and soldiers. Since then, over 11,000 Palestinians have been killed, almost all civilians, and according to the Israeli military, only 47 Israeli soldiers have been killed. There is a truth about who is doing what to whom in that disparity.
And frankly, even saying the war between Gaza and Israel is wrong, because Gaza is not a standalone entity, it's part of the occupied territory.
Israel is an occupying power. It is a country with a military and air force with billions of dollars in military aid. It is the only country in the region with nuclear weapons. It has been occupying, displacing, incarcerating Palestinians since 1948, stealing Palestinian land since 1948. Hamas is not a military. It is a political movement with an armed wing born through and within the context of 75 years of violent occupation. And Gaza, governed by Hamas, is not a country and doesn't actually have defined borders. Israel maintains direct control over all of Gaza's land entries, exits, and airspace. It also controls its supply of water, energy, and other basic necessities. Most of its population, about 70%, are refugees from 1948 and their descendants. So terms like Israeli-Hamas war and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict obscure the reality of violence on the ground. Again, thousands of Palestinians have been killed. Schools and neighborhoods have been leveled. There is little water, little food, and limited electricity in Gaza. There's also nowhere to escape. Everything is controlled by the occupying power, Israel. So calling it a war between a state power and the people it occupies is inaccurate.
And I want to turn just for a moment to brand new polling out of Iowa on the Republican field for president. Joining us now from the big board, NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki. Steve, what do the numbers show?
Yeah, we're basically almost exactly 35 days, almost exactly a month until the Iowa caucuses. This, what we're going to show you, our brand new NBC News Des Moines Register poll. The Des Moines Register poll is taken by Ann Selzer. She is known as one of the best in the business and certainly the authority when it comes to polling on Iowa. So let me show you these numbers. Republican side for the Iowa caucuses, We now have Donald Trump leading with an outright majority in Iowa, 51%. Ron DeSantis, a very distant second at 19. Nikki Haley, 16. Ramaswamy and Christie at 4. We last polled Iowa in October, also with the Des Moines Register. Since then, look at this, Donald Trump's lead. He has added 8 points to his total. DeSantis up a couple. Haley, who had been moving flat, I think it's significant because in the month leading up to this poll, you had Ron DeSantis pick up the endorsement of the governor of Iowa, the endorsement of a key evangelical leader in Iowa, got a lot of press attention for completing a 99-county tour of Iowa, had a Fox News debate against Gavin Newsom in front of millions of Republican-leaning voters, and was part of that fourth Republican debate last week that Donald Trump wasn't in. So for all those things that we thought might be giving DeSantis a boost over the last month, it is Trump. Despite not participating in the debates again, it's Trump who's made the big gains. Trump who's moved to 51% in this Iowa poll. Just a couple other numbers we can show you behind this. These are evangelical voters in Iowa. Remember, Donald Trump finished third with this group in 2016 when he ran in Iowa and lost. Now he leads it overwhelmingly, exact same number as what he gets overall. Evangelicals could make up 2 out of every 3 caucus goers in Iowa. That was the case the last time around. Where Trump really turns it on, though, it is first-time caucus goers. This tends to be a younger group overall. Look at that, 63% of folks who say for the first time they're going to go to a caucus are rallying behind Donald Trump. This is independents. Independents are a small share of the Iowa electorate, but I think it gets to the basic problem Nikki Haley has. Look how much better Nikki Haley does among independents. It's true in Iowa. It's true in New Hampshire. It is true in every poll we have seen, but in Iowa and in most of these Republican primary and caucus states, big exception being New Hampshire, independents are going to be outnumbered significantly by core Republicans. Haley has yet to show that she can make the inroads she needs with core Republicans. That is to say, Republicans who like Donald Trump. She's yet to show she can make those inroads to be competitive. Also, in terms of enthusiasm, we asked folks, are you extremely enthusiastic about your choice? Trump, look at that, 2-1, 3-1 advantage over his rivals. We asked folks, is your mind made up? 77 out of 10% of Trump voters in Iowa say their minds are made up. Again, more than double that of his nearest rivals. And then we asked this question here,
I'll pause it here. Welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's poppin', my friends, my family? It's great to be back. Another fantastic week at RBN. We got Nick and CJ Monday Live. There's a lot to break down there. I'll explain this many times before. We have a bunch to cover. I'm going to cover how Zionists are importing their fascist, anti-free speech tendencies in the United States, and people are more than happy to accept it. The American right, American first right, is now willing to sacrifice our freedom and liberty on behalf of a hostile foreign power. Isn't that hilarious? Now I'm going to address something that they was discussing earlier regarding the quote-unquote Israel-Hamas war. You guys notice I don't frame it that way. You don't often hear me say the Israel-Hamas war. It is not the Israel-Hamas war. No one can legitimately and credibly say that Israel is at war with Hamas. How can you say Israel is at war with Hamas when they have around a 97 to 98 civilian death rate? When they are targeting UN workers? When they're targeting journalists? They are not at war with Hamas at all. And I've been relentlessly pushing back at the idea that there's a war with Hamas. Israel is at war with the Palestinian people and anyone willing to help the Palestinian people. So after they failed to prove that Al-Shifa Hospital was a Hamas headquarters, they kidnapped the director of Al-Shifa Hospital. They kidnapped and tortured doctors so they won't be able to tell the truth that they are waging war against doctors, healthcare workers, and anyone who can provide treatment with Palestinians because they failed to adequately prove that Hamas is at the headquarters of the hospital. So what they do, they take the director and they torture him. How can you say they're at war with Hamas? How can anyone say that? How can anyone say, for example, that Israel is targeting Hamas, has an operation with Hamas? Before, CJ, and I'll pass right back to you. This is my opening monologue based on what I saw. Before, Hamas was this shadowy organization where no one knows where they're at. And now all of a sudden, Israel knows exactly what schools and what hospitals they're under. Who believes this? And they would bomb a refugee site. They would bomb a hospital or school, kill 50 civilians, and they would then lie about killing one Hamas person after killing 50 civilians. And then ask if that's worth it. They say yes. So if your death rate is 50-1, how can you credibly say that they are going after Hamas instead of Palestinian people? That's the death rate, the civilian death rate of the Iraq war, the war on terror that completely delegitimized George W. Bush. Even among MAGA Republicans, Donald Trump speak out against the war on terror because people know that they was not fighting terror. You cannot credibly say that George W. Bush was fighting terror when he had the civilian death rate that he had. There was innocent people at Guantanamo Bay. You can't say you're fighting terrorists when you're going after innocent people. So one last thing I'll say, I said this quite a few times. I'm more on the radical side of Palestinian resistance. I think all forms of Palestinian resistance is valid.
Yes.
I am and there are people who are legitimate, who care about the Palestinian people, who are not as radical as us. Like there's people who like kind of want to like distance themselves from Hamas and that kind of stuff. But if you are for decolonization, if you're for revolution, if you're for fighting the current axis of evils, you should be rooting for Hamas. No one is fighting. I would say no one, because obviously Putin is putting one hell about, Maduro is putting one hell about as well. But when you turn, no one is sacrificing more fighting the U.S. imperial machine than Hamas versus U.S. and Israel. Israel has been a thorn at the side of Arabs who wanted to declare sovereignty against the United States. They are an aircraft carrier for the United States, and Hamas is fighting them for their liberation. If you're pro-liberation, it should be for them. And what I say, and sorry, this is really my last thing, CJ.
No, go ahead. Do you?
I don't even accept the bullshit. I don't even accept the bullshit that like Hamas invaded Israel. Hamas didn't invade Israel on October 7th. How can you invade yourself? You don't invade yourself. Even the UN, I looked at this, even the UN acknowledged that the place that Hamas quote unquote invaded is occupied Palestinian land. Imagine if Russia took United States territory and the United States attacked Russia in Georgia. Imagine if Russia took Georgia. Russia took Georgia. Then the United States go in Georgia, fuck them up, and then they're like, oh my God, the United States invaded Russia. That's not what happened. You can decry what the United States did when they went into Georgia, if you want to. You can decry if they committed war crimes and that kind of stuff. But you can't decry them for being successful in a military operation. But anyway, much to say, one more thing I'm going to cover later is how Zionism is the biggest threat to our free speech and our liberty. It's a national security threat. And like we have post-duopolis, and people have a lot of things they say. They say it's not red versus blue, it's us versus them. You know, a lot of people who are like not Marxists, they use a lot of vague terms like that. It's not red versus blue, it's us versus them. Who is us? Who is them? What we would say is class warfare. Like the people who avoid class warfare, they say something like that. But not only that, now at this point, in the time we're in right now, with Zionists being such a threat to our way of life, our freedom of speech, being a threat to human rights and international law, it's Zionism or anti-Zionist. In this time right now, CJ, do you agree? Do you guys agree? Zionists or anti-Zionist? I'll pass it to you. I got a lot to say, but go ahead, CJ. I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, no, we so this might be a little bit longer stream. Kids are home sick, so I don't have a hard out, and you see Nick is already, he's been itching. He's been off. Oh no, I've been off one less day than you, so I'm itching, but not as much.
Yeah, I have a lot. So there's gonna be a lot of content this week.
Yes.
I have a hard out around 4:30, about 2 hours. Cause my brother's actually
Whatever
here.
you think.
So I got about
Yeah,
2 hours.
I'm on your timeline.
But
Whatever you want. I might cover.
Yeah, but
I might
whenever I
cover a
don't have a
story
chance
or
to
two after you're gone. I don't know.
Yeah,
it might work that way. But let's finish this. Let's finish this first one up, and I'll bring this back up. And this is a quicker sort of segment, just to kind of talk about the numbers about Trump, and I'm gonna rewind it and show just the numbers and less of the video. But yeah, what's up, wrong? Why I wanted to talk about this is that there's a real fear, Nick.
Feel free to join if you're available, Rome. If you're available, no pressure. But if you're available, feel free. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, there's a real fear because not only like there's several dynamics that's happening that's creating a I would say a larger fear earlier than normal in the establishment that doesn't want Donald Trump. He's surging, Nick. At the same time, Donald Trump is losing, and it's for different reasons. You get what I'm saying? It's not like he's surging and Biden is going under because of Hunter Biden. No, Donald Trump is surging for a completely different reason. He's not surging because of Palestine. He's not surging because of the economy's terrible. Those are the reasons why Biden is going down, though. So it's a completely two different reasons. So I'm basically saying in order to solve it, they have to bring Trump down, which means you have to attack those issues that are bringing him up. Then you have to attack separate issues. It's usually the same issue. So they got their work cut out for them, basically. And you can see it in these numbers. And the reason I paused here, I'm going to play the rest of the segment, and then I'm going to go back and show some of these polls and kind of comment on them. Wait till you see what Mika's reaction out of all of these.
CJ. Yeah, CJ, bro. They are about to be unbearable this next year, fam. Like, cause they're 10 months out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like for the most of this year, they just like was beta testing attacks. You know what I mean? They'll float a talking point out there, see what stick. You know, they're like pre-gaming. You know, trying to see what works, what don't work, and not high urgency. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that's my analysis. What I've been saying, not high urgency. Trying to see what they can use, take them down. Let's throw Nick Haley out there. Let's throw Chris Christie out here. Let's throw some stuff at him. But now that you have these polls, now Iowa is a few weeks away. Now they cranked it up into overtime. That's why you're seeing all these stories about you have these political analysis over the dangers of a Trump second term because the realization hit for these people that it's coming. It's coming. So now they gotta. They all have the talking point. The same way I'm gonna cover later how all the Mossad agents got the call. That's why they're all pushing this anti-Semitism bullshit. The same way that all the hidden Mossad agents got the call recently. You have all the Trump derangement people that like you need write an op-ed in LA Times, write an op-ed in Washington Post about how Trump is a danger to the rule of law because he's gonna go after his political enemies. You know. The same thing that we are doing.
Yeah. I don't care. Every time I hear that, my response is like workers care about you guys putting each other in jail. Let's bring in Rome before I continue.
CJ, they like Trump want to prosecute his political enemies. I'm like, man, you guys trying to talk dirty to me now? Like,
don't threaten me with a good time. What's up, Rome?
What's going on? What's going on?
Sir? Just laughing at. Yeah, laughing at this establishment. But any sort of introductory words you want to say before we get back into the segment?
No, I'm here. Shit.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Yeah, it's all good. I like to call these like the founders roundtable when we had.
Yeah, I like that. I like that name.
That's why I asked you like, yeah, well, John, it'd be great. It's good to have us 3 years. It's always good to have you. When you're able to make it, you guys know the work that Rome is doing, so it's always good when we're able to hear from you. So this is like the founders roundtable. That's my unofficial name for it. Go ahead, CJ. I'll pass it to you. Let's continue.
Yeah, so we're gonna start from the end, and then I'll rewind it a little bit to go over some of the specific polls to point out some things of how this guy's gonna lose. Like it's clear that this guy's gonna lose. It's clear as day, and it's like the guy with dementia. You're walking down the street and you can see a pothole, and you're like, "Hey, man, let's move." And the guy with dementia think he knows what he's doing. And gonna walk directly into the pothole, and you're just looking like, like this, you know, while we're laughing in the corner. But that's another story. Let's continue right here.
A lot of words. This is about electability and Republicans' perception of it here. We've talked so much in 2023 about Donald Trump's trials. We will continue to talk about it in 2024. But we asked folks, can Donald Trump win the election regardless of his legal challenges? Now, nearly 3 out of 4 Republicans in Iowa say yes. Last month,
They thought that was going to work.
Devastating. That was devastating right there. Go ahead, Nick.
They thought that shit was going to work, bro. Like, they was cooking that for such a long time this year. The legal battles with Trump, like that was gonna work. And now when they got reported, it hurts their soul. But go ahead, Roman.
I just think it's funny. My bad. You can go ahead, CJ. You can go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Nick, how would you? Because I would describe this as a kidney punch. In MMA fighting, you know, there's a move. There's a couple of moves, maybe a handful of moves where it's like, oh shit, you don't want that one. What would you just if this was a move? Like if you could put into words MMA language, what move would this be?
I remember when Conor McGregor fought Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the biggest fights in recent history. Conor McGregor was known for having a very powerful left hand because he's a southpaw. The problem with that is Khabib is a very powerful wrestler who know how to slip and dodge a punch. He completely neutralized what people viewed as Conor McGregor's most powerful weapon. Not only did he neutralize it, he landed over him right on his own. So the reason why I use that analogy was because the legal battles and the prosecutions against Trump was the Democrats' left hand. So they didn't win against Trump, thought they was going to land that left hand. All of a sudden, Trump completely neutralized it the way Khabib neutralized Conor McGregor. That's the best.
That is actually a great analogy because what Trump did, and I think this is what makes him a lot appealing to some black people. What Trump did is what black people do to white supremacy. We take whatever you call us, like nigga, and we flip that shit. We take this is the whole reason why the word bad is seen as good. Like when you talk about a girl, oh, she bad. That is completely because of slavery.
Fat, bad.
That's a bad slave. The one that's being rebellious, he's bad. The slaves look at him as good. So bad becomes a dual meaning for us. And this is what Trump did. Oh, you want to give me 91 charges? Put my mugshot on a shirt and let me sell 1 million of those shits. Raise money right here. You get what I'm saying? He's flipping what you calling him. Oh, you want to say 91 charges? Okay, I'm a martyr. He's a martyr now. He's freaking Tupac G right now to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like y'all, like what the black community feels like you going after black people unnecessarily. Not necessarily that they didn't commit the crime, is that there's a bunch of people over there doing the same shit, but somehow you over here only. And this is what's giving him that sort of martyr, even if it's unwarranted, because of course everybody here at RBN can, put holes in that scenario, but it doesn't seem like the Democratic establishment know what the fuck they're doing. If they brought in some gangsters, some pimps, some Crips, and some Bloods into the shit, they would know how to attack this shit because they just don't know what to do here. But listen to Mika's reaction. I said all that to wind up to this. Listen to Mika's reaction to all of this polling here.
That number wasn't even 2 out of 3. Big jump there for Trump. We also said, hey, are Trump's legal challenges too much? They make it nearly impossible for him to win. 24% saying that. Again, that number was over 30 last month. So all sorts of signs in this poll, Mika, showing that Donald Trump over the last 6 weeks in Iowa has actually improved his position. And the last time we were this close to the caucuses, again, just about a month away, that a Republican candidate had a lead anywhere near this size, you got to go all the way back to George W. Bush. The year was 2000. Bush won the caucuses. Bush won the nomination.
Did you see her initial face? Man, that was hilarious. But she's going to try to push back right here. And then he's going to say, no, Mika, no. And just listen to this.
NBC's Steve Kornacki, thank you very
Oh, no,
much
sorry,
for
that's in
bringing
another
those
segment.
numbers just
That's in
as they
another
break
segment.
this morning. We
Which is
appreciate it.
next?
Elise Jordan, given given the
Look at
rights
her.
of women.
Look at. You hear the silence in that studio? Like they didn't read these numbers ahead of time. It is that shocking to them because it's like studying real hard for 3 months, feeling good about what you did, and then getting your report card with F's. It's like, what?
They're mad because their propaganda don't work. And one of the reasons why their propaganda don't work is because nobody watches it. The people who do watch it is already on your side. You're not going to have anybody tune. You're not going to have Trump supporters tune in. You're not going to have communists or leftists tune in to no goddamn Morning Joe. We on TikTok and Twitter and all that.
Facts.
So all that. Even I didn't even really watch the indictments or anything about it because I didn't really give two fucks about it. And they was here pushing this propaganda saying, "Oh, he's gonna go to jail. He's gonna go to jail." No, the fuck he isn't. Even if he do. All y'all gonna do is make this man, y'all gonna make him like you just said, bigger than what he really is, And now they didn't get his people so ramped up. I didn't see never Trumper people coming back to Trump. No, it's crazy.
That's true. Especially the elected ones. Now, remember this lady that's on the screen. She's from the Bush-Cheney White House. So just understand that's going to be her perspective. But let's listen. This is very shocking to them.
Caucuses, Bush won the nomination.
NBC's Steve Kornacki, thank you very much for bringing those numbers just as they break this morning. We appreciate it. Elise Jordan, given the rights of women or the lack thereof in this country right now due to the moves made by Donald Trump, Leonard Leo, and his cronies, what do you make of these numbers? What is going on? And I understand this is Iowa we're talking about, but still, look at what's happening. And you look
how devastated she is. You see how devastated she is? Now, I don't know if she's devastated because their propaganda isn't working more, or that Donald Trump is going to win. I almost feel like your parents are the ones that's watching this show. You get what I'm saying? Morning Joe has donors, has elected leaders watching, and they're having to face the people who they are working for and their singular task, which is to trick people in numbers like this to their advantage. And they're seeing the numbers at the same time as their parents, and they're like, I don't even know. I don't know what to say about this because I thought I did well. But what is very curious to me, and I'll bring Nick in for your comment to this question, is I don't understand. They see these numbers, Nick, and then they just continue to do the same thing. Like, how do you address that particular point of them not pivoting to if they really want to do that, if they really don't want him to win, why aren't they pivoting to a different plan that would get results? Go ahead.
You guys notice at no point during this segment do they ask themselves, damn, these numbers and Trump is doing so well. What can Biden do for the working class to turn it around? It's never that. It's how can we scare people into voting against their interests? And what you're going to hear next, guys, I actually seen this segment while I was doing some tutorials this morning where Mika Brzezinski gives probably the dumbest political analysis you're going to hear this week. Because remember, look at the numbers there. They're talking about the Republican primary. So then Mika's like, how can Trump be ahead because based on his views on abortion? I'm like, when I watched this, I'm like, Mika, you're talking about the Republican primary, you moron. Why are you talking about abortion as if abortion's gonna hurt Trump in a primary where you guys mentioned in the same segment 2/3 of the Iowa primary GOP voters are evangelical? And I'll pass you, CJ, so you can continue the video because you're gonna see Mika talking about abortion. She gonna be, they only know what to say, so like abortion. Why can anyone support Republicans despite abortion rights? Ignoring the fact that they're in the Republican primary, showing you the high quality political analysis you get on the corporate channels like MSNBC. So, CJ, you can keep playing because you're going to hear what I'm talking about here very soon.
Yeah. And to sort of comment on what you're saying right there, to sort based on what you're saying, the way they do this segment, this is an example. Before they got to this story, they were covering a Texas abortion case. And what they're starting to do, because usually they'll go commercial, do a full segment on one subject, then go to commercial. What they're doing now is commercial. They'll do a story that is opposite to good news of Trump. So if they know they're going to do a Trump poll that's good, they'll do a story right before it or right after it without cutting. Like they don't even go like, okay, next story. They just literally finish the sentence of that story and then they begin talking about a completely different story. And then the ticker at the bottom changes. They did it for this one too. If I have time, I'll go back. But let's listen to what she says here. Let me know where you wanted to stop.
This is a block of very conservative, primarily evangelical voters who dominate the caucuses. And so for Donald Trump, what he did with the Supreme Court and the judges he appointed benefits him in Iowa. It's not until you get to other states, and particularly New Hampshire is going to be more interesting, where you see where voters are more libertarian and they don't like the idea of doctors being able to not dictate the life-saving measures needed to perform medical care
Talk about
to
Republican
patients, because
primary.
this is a debate about health care at the end of
right, which they're
He
not.
said, wait
They
till
keep
New
avoiding.
Hampshire. Listen to what they're saying. This, and I remember I listened to that. I'm like, bro, this is the dumbest political analysis you're gonna hear. They're like, wait until the New Hampshire Republican primary, then people will care about abortion. What? Who? And by the way, who is the pro-choice candidate? Nikki Haley was supporting the Ron DeSantis. They was fighting from the right because you had Ron DeSantis that was attacking Nikki Haley for being weak. And then she's like, no, you're actually weak. I actually support the harsh abortion law. So who is the pro-choice candidate they are advocating for? But let's continue because it only get dumber because Mika's gonna double down on this commentary, pretending that abortion is somehow fucking relevant in a GOP fucking primary.
end of the day and about personal liberty and personal freedom. And you're going to see that in the granite state come more to play and potentially be a little bit more of a factor.
Yeah, as Steve noted, it's remarkable Trump's surge in popularity among evangelicals who were pretty skeptical of him back in 2016, and now he's never been more popular with them. So John Hallman, yes, New Hampshire could be a little different. It's a different electorate than we see in Iowa. That's where I think the Haley camp thinks they'll fare better. We know Chris Christie has his long shot hopes pinned to New Hampshire as well. But as we look at these numbers, 51-19, in a state that Trump previously didn't do all that well, are we kidding ourselves to think this is even a race at all? This is just simply a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump will be the nominee.
Who's we?
I mean, I think it's been over.
Now all of them are going to be saying, no, we said this is over. You notice that they're trying to already starting. I already thought it.
He's like, man, have we been goofs this entire time covering this and pretending this is a race? Because remember, these people pretend that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley has a better chance than RFK, who posed better than both of them. So now they do not realize how deeply unserious their show has been for quite some time. Let's continue.
Yeah, we got to get to the Mika part, then we could probably end this.
For months.
Yeah, you and I aren't in a different place about this. We want to. It's democracy, right? We want to let these things play out. We have to suspend.
That went in the Democrat Party.
Voters vote. See these numbers. Voters voted.
Right.
Things can change, but it's not like we're sitting here. It's the date I believe is December something. I get lost track of that completely. But we're in December now. The Iowa caucuses are a month away. It's not early still. You can't make the argument it's early. There's a lot of yardage on the field. None of that's true. You know, we're not just in the fourth quarter here, but we're getting close to the 2-minute warning in political terms, and there's not a sign anywhere. Again, you hear people occasionally say, well, things are tightening here, tightening there. Nikki Haley's got momentum here or there. Nikki Haley's got some momentum in New Hampshire versus Ron DeSantis. Donald Trump's lead over the field is vast and in some cases growing.
They are devastated. Like just the mood of this whole is just such a downer. This whole conversation, they don't know what to say. Like tomorrow, like what are they going to talk about tomorrow on Morning Joe? Trump, what? You're going to talk about his 91 counts about a court case? Why? Like nobody cares. You just saw the poll said 73% of the people in Iowa said even if he's convicted, they're still going to vote for him.
And now you got the kids, you got the young voters saying we're not voting for none of these people. So you have lost a good chunk of your base that was young, still had many years to vote Democrat. You lost them, and now you're getting Trump base ramped up. This is a lose-lose for Democrats, and all they got to do is say something about abortion rights, something about women's rights. Just say something right now, and you will probably get some people back. Not all of them, but you will probably get some people back. But will they do it? No. So I don't know why they keep bringing up abortion like Joe Biden isn't the president right now. What the hell is they talking? Where's they going with this? I don't get it.
His team have been most worried about. Yes. They have been spending their time. I've been spending a lot of time there. He's been in Iowa more than he's been in any other state. They've been spending money there. He's doing rallies there, and apparently it's having some effect because Trump we've just seen him get stronger in this state rather than weaker. And the number that Steve pointed to that Ann Seltzer's poll shows, this number that shows that the numbers are that the closer we get to Trump's trial date in Washington D.C. in the insurrection case, the closer we get to that, the electability argument is fading in the Republican Party. It's not like people are waking up and going, "Hey, wow, Donald Trump's about to sit in front of a jury." And Chris Christie says he's going to be convicted. Well, maybe he is going to be, but I'll tell you, Republican voters right now, the number that think that this is not an issue, that it will not stop him from winning a general election against Joe Biden, is getting smaller rather than larger.
So, and Republican voters who may be in the hospital right now or have a wife in the hospital right now with a non-viable pregnancy that might.
What did she change? Is she changing subjects? What is she just started talking about abortion? Where did this come from, Nick? Oh no, this is what you're talking about. This is insane, Nick, because okay, let me just play it. Yeah, this is because I was shocked. Maybe I don't know how I missed this little transition right here. Let me watch it again. I rewinded 10 seconds.
Stop him from winning a general election against Joe Biden is getting smaller rather than larger.
So, and Republican voters who may be in the hospital right now or have a wife in the hospital right now with a non-viable pregnancy that might kill her. Joyce Vance, I'll bring it back to this. I don't understand how they could
this is all you get is gaslighting and finger pointing.
The state of affairs right now in Texas. I'm curious.
You see how she
implications of
I didn't
the Kate
see this part. I didn't watch it all the way to here.
You see how she
I'm
bring up abortion
right there.
And look at the super specific example she gave, right? And these people we have sympathy for, but she's like, imagine if your wife is someone in the hospital that's about to die in the hospital, about to give a good birth. And I'm like, bro, that's a very tragic situation, but that seems like a very small amount of electorate, doesn't it? How specific? How many people are in this situation? We getting 50 votes out of this? Like, CJ, go back to that part. That's a very
that's funny.
Very specific base she is talking about. Imagine if you're in the hospital, and you're Republican, you're gonna support this? Like, yes, the Republican Party support this. And the funny thing is, Mika and these liberals pretend that like white women are like resisting this. White women voted for this.
Yeah.
White women voted for Trump twice. Meanwhile, they're pretending, man, there's an army of white women ready to defeat Trump. No, there's not. No, there's not. You know who defeated Trump? People of color, black women, brown women. You know, the same women who's now not going to support Joe Biden because he's funding the genocide in Israel. Then maybe that kind of a problem, isn't it? So now you guys lost. You guys lost the brown women. You guys lost the black women because we guys doing in Gaza, and you guys gonna lose the white women vote because they're all for restriction abortion. But let's continue.
Word. They're in shambles.
Stop him from winning a general election against Joe Biden is getting smaller rather than larger.
So, and Republican voters who may be in the hospital right now or have a wife in the hospital right now with a non-viable pregnancy that might kill her. Joyce Vance, I'll bring it back to this. I don't understand how they
how
could
many
be
people
voting
is
on
that?
any other issue. Given the
5.
state of affairs right now in
Imagine if
Texas,
you're,
I'm
she's like,
curious
imagine if
what
you're in the
the
hospital ready to
implications
give
of the
birth
Kate
right
Cox
now. Like,
case
who
in
are you
terms of
talking to? How many voters in Iowa did this apply to, Mika? Well, let's continue.
I think she may be, because I don't remember the exact story, but like I said earlier in this same segment, they were talking about an abortion case in Texas. So they could be describing that, or she just could be using that and then adding more layers to it, which is what I think she's doing. Because what they always do, Nick, they talk about Trump and then they have to talk about how fiercely horrible it's going to be. So they have to use all of these adjectives to overly describe how bad it will be.
I mean,
that's
but
what we're hearing here.
they never bring up what is their plan on abortion rights. What is their plan? Like you can sit here and gaslight, poke fingers, you know what I'm saying, whatever it may be. But what is the Democrats' plan? Because y'all still have time to codify Roe v. Wade. You still can do this today. What is your plan? You know, so it just don't. I don't know. It makes no sense to me to bring up something that y'all don't even have the balls to protect.
Yeah, all these years y'all sat around and watched the Republicans do what they did, and then yell victim. So, but let's finish this out. Let me know if you have any other words here.
Could impact other women across the country, and also if the
actually they do move on to abortion. So let's just show some of the numbers, and we're not going to play the video, but I do want to show some of the numbers here. And let's start here with this one here. So this is Iowa caucus, and you see Donald Trump 51%. This has gone up, right? And now let's see. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide shows this. This looks like a close-up of the same thing. Hold on a second. This one right here. This one right here is the one I think is the most devastating, because specifically, if you were to take all of their coverage, Nick and Rome, if you were to take all the cable news coverage over the last 12 months, and you were to categorize them, let's say categorize them by person, who's the top person you talk about? It's Trump. I think that's nobody would dispute that. But of Trump, what is the top subject that you have propagandized the most about? And that is the court cases.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to spend the most time on this particular subject, and then the grade to come back essentially a 24, that's a F. That's what I think is most devastating, because how did they move forward? That's the question. Like how, because they had plans. They already had plans, management, like TV management.
Mm-hmm.
They already know what they're talking about in 2 weeks. They already know. And then they just insert breaking news. So they're thinking like, well, I already know I'm talking about this for the next 3 weeks. I'm talking about court. But so it's a realization that they're literally going to be talking about stuff that nobody's interested in, and or they're on the losing side of advocacy. But any final words on this?
Yeah, they have no moral high ground anyway, because y'all are in the middle of a genocide right now. You know, not even just in Palestine, Congo, and everybody fucking knows it. You can't hide that. And no amount of cases that y'all throw at Trump is gonna get y'all more people on your side from the young generations that's supporting Palestine, supporting Congo, supporting, that's turning into anti-war activists. You're not going to get those people back, and you damn sure ain't going to get the Trump people. And you have no more high ground. You guys are supporting war criminals. So it doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, my guy is least bad on this, and your guy is more bad on that. All these people are bad. You have no more high ground at all. Democrats at all.
Facts. Nick, unless we can move to your story, the stories you wanted to do. Did you need me to do any announcements so you can set up, or are you good to go?
You can do some announcements. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I can do some announcements.
So we get them out of the way.
Do we have any super chats? Let me see. Oh no, we don't have any super chats. All right, so I can do some quick announcements. Let's shout out.
I'll be right back to do that. I'll be right.
Yeah, we're always doing fundraisers. So check out the website. It is scrolling there at the bottom, revolutionaryblackout.com. This is what it looks like. You can go on our website, check out what we do. If you click become a member, it'll take you to our Patreon, and it'll tell you how to join our Patreon. Join our list. This is where you can go to join our Substack on our website. Up at the top, the very last one on the right, when you click merchandise, RBN merch, it will take you to our website for merchandise. And actually, I think Nick has on one of the shirts today.
Yep.
This shirt right here, Nick has on right now. So if you want to see the live version of this when Nick come back, you'll see that live version. But you can get it in different colors. You can get it in gray. You can get it in, I don't even know what this is. It says, military green is what it's called. Now I can see the names. This is sand. And then this is white. There's other items, clothing items. You can get mugs. Here is a pullover hoodie. You can get it in green.
Yeah, you guys see I got my black shirt
burgundy.
on. I had green on.
I was just showing them.
Yeah, I had my gray on last stream. You guys gonna get tired of me wearing this. I had the gray on last stream. I'm gonna get some more next time I'm able to, but I'm definitely.
I still got them. I still got some new designs. I don't want to send them to Erin right now. You know, she's takes some time
she's
off.
doing some things right now. So yeah, everybody, shout out, send good vibes out to our editor Erin. That's why you see the thumbnails not as good, because I'm doing them now, and I'm not as good as her. She needs some family time off, much needed, and take the time you need. We are all, I'm not gonna say praying, because some of us are atheists, but we're all thinking about you and hoping everything works out with everything. So
yeah,
all right, Nick, is all yours, sir.
Yeah, so I've been talking about the concept of a capitalist dictatorship for quite some time, because I'm here to destroy the illusion that you somehow have more freedom under a capitalist country. Not true at all. And we're gonna get more detail on this on the next story, where we cover how big donors are the reason why Harvard and Penn presidents are being forced to resign, because you had capitalists who donated a ton of money to these education institutions, and now they're able to influence them on very important geopolitical issues. And now they're suppressing free speech because they are trying to appease their donors. This is how capitalists, people who control capital, not the workers, control politics in this country. And the same way with Israel-Palestine, where you have the majority of Democrats who support a ceasefire. And I'm talking about the vast majority. Do you have the majority of independents who support a ceasefire? Despite this, are we getting a ceasefire? No, we are not, because AIPAC bought off all our politicians. AIPAC spent $17 million on the last election, and now we have Democrats who can't even support a ceasefire, which is supported by the vast majority of constituents. They have Donald Trump, CJ. They told us that Donald Trump is the biggest threat to democracy of all time. Donald Trump is going to destroy our nation. He's a unique, unhinged evil. But despite how dangerous Trump is, despite how high the stakes are, they're willing to lose, CJ, in order to keep the Israel funding gravy train going. Think about that.
Yep.
On one end, Donald Trump is the greatest evil that must be defeated no matter what. He's the greatest threat on a nation to our nation's history. But we're willing to allow him to win if it means stop funding a genocide. How do you reconcile that? Because AIPAC, Zionist money, have bought off our politicians. And that will always be the case. That's why politicians do the bidding on Wall Street. That's why nothing you say actually matters. Because the people who have capital will be the people who have the most influence in our society. Meanwhile, what we want is a dictatorship of the proletariat, where we own the means of production. It's the most democratic model of governance there is, which is why it scares the capitalist class. There's no bigger threat to the capitalist class than seizing their power. So
as I show you guys how the United States and Israel isolated itself in the world, I can never help stop explaining how they are hypocrites. Do you guys remember what they were saying during the Ukraine war about the crime, about the civilian deaths? You had John Kirby famously cried once, like, no one can constantly stand for what Putin is doing when you had innocent civilians die. That's someone's brother, that's their sister. All of a sudden, John Kirby sounds like Malcolm X, CJ, when it comes down to Russian war crimes. And now here's Anthony Blinken doing his best impersonation of Malcolm X and black anti-imperialists here. This is what he said about the Russian-Ukraine war.
We can never let the crimes Russia's committing become our new normal. Bucha is not normal. Mariupol is not normal. Irpin is not normal. Bombing schools and hospitals and apartment buildings to rubble is not normal.
Bombing schools, apartment, hospitals is not normal. That is what Blinken said when white people was the victim. You guys want to hear that again? It's only 17 seconds. This is when the United States should pretend to care about civilian deaths.
Can never let the crimes Russia's committing become our new normal. Bucha is not normal. Mariupol is not normal. Irpin is not normal. Bombing schools and hospitals and apartment buildings to rubble is not normal. We can never let the crimes Russia's committing become our new normal.
We can never let the crimes Russia is committing become the new normal, as they allow everything they accuse Russia of doing become the new normal in Gaza. Everything they accuse Russia of doing, Israel is doing tenfold. And what did I personally say? I told you guys, the highest form of corruption, it is weaponized hypocrisy. Weaponized hypocrisy is the highest form of corruption. When the ICC decides to charge Vladimir Putin as a war criminal for relocating less children than Israel killed. You guys understand? Putin is accused of relocating less kids than Israel actually bombed. So, but meanwhile, Netanyahu, where's the ICC warrant on him? He killed more kids than they accused Putin of kidnapping. CJ, Rome, you guys know how fucking crazy that is? That is the highest form of corruption, this weaponized hypocrisy, and people must understand this. So Putin was a war criminal. All these people who they tell us to hate, like Xi Jinping, war criminal, even though he don't have a, what war is he sponsoring? What genocide is he supporting? What's Xi Jinping death count? But we supposed to be scared of him? Meanwhile, here's the United States isolating itself on the world stage, thus putting a target on Americans' back. Another example of how Zionism is a national security threat. Because you guys don't think the world is not seeing the United States being the only one who vetoed this? You guys think we don't people not seeing this? So some people are misguided may view attacking Americans as a legitimate way to fight against this genocide. It's not the smart thing to do, but that's just the reality of what will happen. Zionism is a national security threat. So here's the headline: U.S. vetoes UN Gaza ceasefire again, as Biden veers far from the global consensus. Death toll tops 18,000. And fam, a lot of these states that voted for this are not critics of Israel. A lot of these people usually go along with Israel. It just shows how absolutely unhinged and how far gone the United States is. So when people tell me that Hamas is terrorists, I look at them straight in the eye. I say, no, they are not. You want to know who's under compliance in international law? Hamas, because they have the legal right to armed resistance against their colonial occupier. Meanwhile, as I explained many times before, Israel is a terrorist state that is out of compliance with international law. CJ, remember when I say this? What is the only mechanism that stops Israel from being held accountable as the criminal state that they are? The United States. which is a country that had their democracy hijacked by the capitalist dictatorship that was exported from the Zionism in Israel. So you have Zionists, all these billionaire Zionists, all this capital that supports Zionism that hijacked our political system because capitalism is not a democracy. So they hijack our democracy, completely shift where the United States foreign policy is where we loyal to Israel, and then they created a giant state that will block Israel from being held account to international law. And I've been watching this my entire life, but now we're seeing the conclusion of this, that what happens when you have the giant client state that will fight and die for Israel. You see how the UN is a fucking toothless organization. So what do colonized people do if you have a criminal rogue regime that cannot be held account, but because of the failed institutions created by the West? You engage in armed resistance against the criminal state, correct? Are you supposed to allow the criminal state to continue doing what they do, despite the fact that everyone in the world is like, Israel is a criminal state, we got to stop them, but they keep being stopped by the United States. So what do you do as someone who's a victim of the criminal state? You resist by any means necessary, which is why I personally, not speaking for a channel, which is why I root for Hamas, because Hamas is an organization that is fighting. I just say that just for, I'm not putting
exactly.
I'm telling you, everybody here supports Hamas. I mean, even the kind-hearted folk, Sabby, JB, yes, we all support Hamas. It makes no sense for us not to. That's like being against the Black Panther Party. They are not terrorists. They're a product of their environment. Right? All right, there.
And they're being propped up by Netanyahu. There's another story we can get to for that, but go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to try and get through this a little bit faster. I have quite a bit to cover here. But I'll just read the first paragraph of This Democracy Now! That's covering this. I'll read the headline again just so I get into it. This is the U.S. vetoes UN Gaza ceasefire again as Biden veers far from global consensus. And I'll just read the first paragraph. To discuss the shocking United States veto of a UN Security Council resolution requesting a Gaza ceasefire. Oh, no, sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't read that. They pretty much talking about the guests, and they talking about how shocking it is. They isolate the United States from the world. I don't need to read that part. Now, this... I saw that headline. Nothing is worth it. You know what I mean? I'm very careful because when I say it, none of this is worth it. You know what I mean? Based on the death and destruction. But I will just say this. I am so glad lesser to evilism as an ideology is completely destroyed. Because I even seen PMC leftists after this veto, like, holy fuck Joe Biden. Dude, this is like they realize that their entire political ideology is fraudulent and led to a genocide. And I'm not saying AOC is one of them. I'm just showing you how even the PMC class is enabled to speak out on this. AOC is not going to rock the boat on here. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying she is. But it's so bad that even they are forced to say shit about this.
Yeah.
Well,
let me chime in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because on this, absolutely. This lesser or too evil. Because I was gonna make the same comment before you got to this section. I was like, I hope he gets to this because this is why, like, this last 12 months, I gotta say, man, this has been the best for radicals who want a population to get more radicalized. The events of the last 12 months have completely shattered this lesser of two evil, from the strike breaking that they did and they tried to cover up and they came out, and the relational harm, just all the devastating things that's pulling the mask off from everybody, to Bernie Sanders, to AOC, to Joe Biden. And you see the Arab communities leaving too. Go ahead, Nick. You see the Arab community leaving too. Go ahead, Nick.
I want to just back your point up, because remember when we had Jimmy on and we were explaining how, like, shit, dude, it's actually better when Democrats win, because people that radicalizes more people. Like, more people was radicalized because of Bill Clinton. Like, more people was radicalized because of Barack Obama. Like, the only thing really that George W. Bush and Trump and the Republicans do is scare people back to the Democratic Party. Like, they would actually be terrible if Trump was president right now, because then You have liberals that are pretending to be against this genocide, and then they're like, "See, this is why you support Democrats." And then there's been a wave of young people who've been Democrats for life after this. So it's actually great. Remember that comment we made? I will never forget. We talking about like, and I was like, "Yo, that's actually a good point. It's actually good when Democrats win." Because if it was the opposite, bro, it would have been the greatest gift ever for Democrats. Yes. And I can only imagine that Democrat donors and the liberal bourgeoisie, they having private conversations like, fuck, man, why did that happen to when we in charge? If it was only Republican, we would have been gold. And they would have been. They would have been.
And that's what I was, and you're speaking to what I was just, you just said you were backing up. You're speaking to what I was saying has been happening. Like, because they've been in power, when the railroad agreement came up, they had to show their ass on they're not really being for workers. When, you know, and then this with Israel, because remember, if you go back when support for this massacre of Palestinians was at its height in the first 3 days after October 7th, remember AOC said I would vote to support the Iron Dome right now. You don't hear her saying nothing like that anymore. If you ask her about it, she'd be like, well, I bet you she'll have another word salad about that comment. She don't make no comments like that.
But due to the what's going on right now, of course, they're gonna have some word salads. And it's crazy how she just basically disappeared when all this shit started popping off, didn't she? She was on Twitter like every day, like one of us. And when this shit popped off, she disappeared.
They all were for it first because they thought it wasn't going to be this long. They all majority report. They wasn't really talking about this yet. They thought, a couple of days is going to be over. Then it prolonged. They had to talk about it because they saw the atrocities. But if these motherfuckers, Nick, got the audacity to talk about vote for some Joe Biden, they have literally they are ghouls. They are literally like just ghosts in physical bodies. There's no way you can be a human. See what this guy is down with, Nick, and we're going to pass it to you so you can get back to it, and still talking about let's vote for. How dare you say he's the lesser of two evils? We got a genocide and nuclear war. What's worse than that, Nick? Back to you, sir.
Bro, Biden just destroyed their credibility. Like, I've seen the most shit Libby accounts. No need to call them out because they're going through some shit right now. Remember what I said at the very beginning of this, CJ? When I said there are a lot of people going through some shit. You know, the people who their entire ideology was based on lesser two evilism. Hassan Piker was like, I might not vote for Biden. I might. Oh, did I really say that? Yeah, I said it. People going through existential crisis right now.
Yeah. And what's the Jewish guy, the Jewish comedian? He's real pale redhead. What's his name? He also said I might Trump might be a rapper for it. It's also deranged about this shit. It's crazy, man. They're going through some stuff.
Dude, we're gonna see some weird ass face turns here recently, man. Because we all got those radicalization points, and we gotta make fun of those people for the old states. But they're gonna be like good faith people that after this, they're gonna be like, they will never admit it. They're gonna be like, damn,
RBN was fucking right.
Right, the RBN nigga was right, bro. We're not gonna say it, but them motherfuckers was right. And then they're gonna change their politics. They're gonna be better people after this. After this slaughter, they're gonna be radicalized. They're gonna look back at their old quotes and they're gonna cringe. And we don't know that's gonna be yet, but they're gonna be very weird face turns that we're gonna see recently. Because there are even people who I view personally as Sogdim shit libs that are getting this right now. So we see who come out on the other end of this issue and become an ally, who become better after this, right? But
they know they can't build a career off this shit for too much longer. Seeing what's going on, that's what they have done. They have built a career off of being lesser two evils, voting for the lesser of two evils. You can't do that shit now. The kids ain't falling for it, and you're gonna, hey, kill yourself. I mean, you're gonna kill your own channel with that nonsense. So it's either you're gonna have to move left with your audience, or just stay where you at and fall, because ain't nobody listening to the lesser of two evil shit. They either voting Trump or not voting at all.
Yeah. Feel free, as always, just feel free to interrupt me while I'm doing these presentations because I can't get your cues. This is an AOC statement. The Biden administration can no longer reconcile their professed concern for Palestinians and human rights while also single-handedly vetoing the UN's call for a ceasefire and sidestepping the entire U.S. Congress to unconditionally back the indiscriminate bombing of Gaza. And if you guys don't know that, that's another thing the Biden administration did. They're now bypassing Congress. And you had Lloyd Austin that gave a not so subtle threat. They're like, bro, if you guys don't fund Ukraine, we send in your cousins and your uncles and your aunts and your family members to fight Russia and die for them. So the fascist authoritarian administration is now saying, if Congress, you guys don't fall in line, we're gonna do it ourselves, and we're gonna follow the precedent that you guys set in order to support this war. Now, this is the actual video. This is only a minute to show you guys the actual vote where the United States isolated itself on the world stage. So I'll read this. Then I'll play the video so you guys can see it for context. So here's the tweet. Result of the UN Security Council vote for a ceasefire in Gaza proposed by the UAE. The only people that was against it was the United States, and the UK voted to abstain. Remember, the UK and the United States are the two protectors. They're the only reason why Israel is not considered a criminal terrorist state is because of the United States and the UK. But tell me more about Hamas, though. Tell me more about how they're terrorists. Imagine if there was a state that was just protecting Hamas. Like whenever the resolution against Hamas, they protect them, and how the United States will respond to that. But anyway, here's the video so you guys can
submit to the vote the draft resolution.
You have to put a black guy up there too. You notice that?
The draft
Yeah, we're gonna get to that here. Say that thought, TJ. We're gonna get to that very soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Document S/2023/970. Raise your hand.
God damn.
Now do you guys see why Zionists are forced to implement authoritarian fascist policies? Because they lost the war on public opinion, and they actually lost it quite some time ago if you're in a country outside the United States and the UK. You guys understand? Even before October 7th, they've been lost the war on public perception. The only people that protected them is Anthony Blinken in the United States. Trump was a dumbass, and he pulled out of the UN Human Rights Council because Trump was like, they being too mean to Israel. I'm fighting the deep state, but I'm here to protect Israel, even though those two things are linked. They too mean to Israel. I'm getting out of here. You guys are too mean to my friend. I'm out of here. And Biden was like, you fucking amateur. You don't pull out. You infiltrate. So what Biden did, he's like, nigga, I'm rejoining that. I'm rejoining the council. And their stated goal, as the progressives were praising, you have Bernie Sanders, the progressives that were praising Biden for quote unquote rejoining the UN Human Rights Council, when their stated goal, and I covered this on the RBN segment quite some time ago, was they were rejoining the UN Human Rights Council to protect Israel. And I actually might find that, I think that'll fit well with this segment. I may find it if I have time when you guys talk. But I covered that. They joined it to do this, to protect Israel. And you know what the reaction of progressives was? When Biden announced he was rejoining the UN Human Rights Council? See, we told you. We told you Biden. I will never forget it.
These are clowns, man. Let me just say, these are clowns, Nick. These are clowns because they are literally on edge, waiting for one good thing. Just like when he was so-called gonna wipe the records of marijuana people. Remember when that came out? He's letting everybody out of jail, and it turns out he didn't let out not a single person. And then they never came back and backtracked on that. And it's like, that is an indication, or that is a tale. That's a way to bait or whatever. That's a tale of a person or a group who understands they're supporting somebody terrible. If you're waiting on edge for something like that, you understand you have made the deal with the devil, and you waiting for the devil to at least give you some iced tea. He's like, give me at least some iced tea, the devil. You know what I'm saying? In hell, and that's literally all they're waiting for. And then when the devil gives you that iced tea, they act like he giving you the world, and that's what they try to sell us on. But
bro, we just saw an example of this just now. Remember when the ceasefire first happened? And progressives like, see, we told you, Biden didn't want to do genocide. He wanted to do a ceasefire the whole time.
Trump would have continued on, blah, blah. There wasn't no ceasefire.
And
there wasn't no ceasefire.
And to your point, these people wait for any reason to praise Biden.
And that was one of the things that I saw the David Figueiredos, the Emma Viglins, the Cenk Uygurs. Like, see, if we didn't have Trump is not rational. I know Biden not perfect, but at least Biden is rational to join the UN. That I remember this clearly. I wish I screenshot the show receipts. I don't have it. I just hope you guys could believe me on this one, because I wish I could screenshot. But that's what they were saying, bro. They gave him credit for this. But let's continue this. Because CJ, you made a very poignant point earlier, and I wanted to say it for a reason. I'm gonna let you make it.
Yes.
But let's continue the video, and I'm gonna let you continue the point that you was gonna make earlier.
En contra. Against.
Did this nigga just hate?
The only
Now,
person against. Go ahead, CJ. I'll pass to you because this is
Jesus Christ, and put that back up, because he's one of the, he's excited to be a Negro servant. Do you see how he got that hand up there? Like, yeah, like you ain't gonna shame me. No dead baby's gonna shame me out of being a damn Negro servant. Look at this. You get what I'm saying?
I work hard to kill these damn
It is
kids.
literally disgusting. I guarantee you, all the niggas in the hood hate this nigga. If he knows a black person, I would be very fucking surprised if this person knows a black person. But right before that, you know, the guy, he's speaking in another language, and then there's a translation. You can hear him take a deep breath before he asks for what he says, contrary people who are opposed. He takes a deep breath before he asks, because he knows the United States is about to be down with killing some babies. That's why he takes a deep breath. That is literally international. There's no language barrier needed to understand that sigh was a sigh of damn. These niggas about to vote against it again. Even after what everybody has seen and 20,000 dead people, these people about to vote against it. And the last point I want to make is about this Negro servant. And that is, if you don't think the United States did not send intentionally a black person to represent this vote, you are insane. Because you know how it would look? You know how it would look if you saw a Victoria Nuland, white, ghoulish looking Victoria Nuland raising her hand to that, or any other white person who's raising her hand to the genocide of these people. Can you imagine a side-by-side shot of that?
I'm glad I found it. I was looking for this.
That's it. That is intentional. Go ahead, Nick. If you were gonna also
no, CJ, your point, Graham. Ron, feel free to chime in. I want to make sure you get here as well. But this is why I despise liberalism. I despise liberal culture to my roots, fam. They commit the insults to our community that like conservatives wish they could. You know what I mean? So, like you said earlier, CJ, in order to prevent that obvious, devious, white supremacist face to be on front of this, they want the world to see black people joining the United States empire voting no. You guys think, and like CJ said, do you guys think this is a coincidence that the United States want to see our faces that look like us on front of violent acts? They saying Colin Powell, Susan Rice, and that black lady. This is a black lady who was defending the.
I forget her name. She has the permanent position. She has the permanent UN, whatever Nikki Haley was. I forget what it's called. That's who she is, the one in the bottom right. The other ones are like the black guy. I think he's like a substitute or something to that effect. You mean to tell me, as hard as it is for black people to get jobs, you mean to tell me all these black people got this job? That's what they trying to tell me, nigga. And that's why, it's like a 400% employment rate for this position for black people. Get the fuck out of here.
And that's why as black revolutionaries, we don't believe that the civil rights movement was successful. You guys understand?
Right.
Like our leaders were killed before that shit was finished, and then people sold out in the middle of it. When people wonder why me and Rome go so hard on John Lewis, people like, how can you be so mean on John Lewis? Do you know he did stuff in the civil rights movement? This nigga sold out while the job wasn't done.
Right.
You guys understand? That's worse than doing nothing. I'd rather you do nothing than join the fight and then sell out before the fight is done. Because
let's not remember what he has said.
We say, I pass right to you, Ron. I know you want to try. I pass right to you, brother.
But what we say is that, are we really liberated if the only way we can have economic freedom is if we join the forces of oppression?
Mm-hmm.
Because the only way that Black people get economic freedom is if we either exploit the labor value and become the sick, parasitic capitalist class ourselves that exploit the Black capitalist labor, or we do what Colin Powell said we should do. Colin Powell himself said, there's no racism in this country. Look at me. You can always join the military. You can always become a police officer. And he said it's like it's a good thing. And the white audience are clapping. Like, yeah, the Negroes, they can just join the forces of oppression. And my question is, are you really liberated? Are people really liberated if your number one way to liberate yourself is by joining the forces that liberate your people? Go ahead, chime in. I apologize.
You basically said what I was going to say, because I remember what he said before he passed away. What was that on Twitter? He was like, when I got hosed down by the police, I said, thank you for your service. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? That's John Lewis.
Yeah,
John Lewis said that shit. And this is the state of Black leadership today. This is why I don't take none of them serious. And I feel like if you call yourself a revolutionary and you are old enough to be my grandfather and you're not dead, you're not a revolutionary. You're not a revolutionary, because all the revolutionary leaders are gone or locked the fuck up or flee to Cuba. They're not here.
Bro, this was a tweet that like immediately made me despise this person immediately. Like, I remember I was like neutral on the motherfucker, you know what I mean? I was kind of like, John Lewis,
Hey, did
I saw this tweet years ago and I immediately hated him ever since. He said, and remember, this was during the Ferguson, the aftermath of the Ferguson riot. You know, where we had our Black brothers and sisters that was assassinated. Y'all motherfuckers not ready for this real story. I explained it many times on the show before. I'm from Missouri, motherfucker. I was part of this. Where the real original founders and the real fucking revolutionaries who planted and implemented the idea of Black Lives Matter, they was assassinated and killed. And then Black Lives Matter were hijacked by liberals who then turned it into identity politics bullshit. But look it up. Google. I can show you 1,000 receipts of all the Ferguson activists that was murdered.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know what?
I remember reading those stories.
So as this was going on, John Lewis sent this tweet. I was beaten bloody by police officers, but I never hated them. I said, thank you for your service.
I have never heard a more coon ass thing. I'm trying to think of anything
that
else.
shit pissed me off.
I'm trying to think of anything else than that.
I'm calling all the old people in my family like, you better not say shit.
Bro, I saw this tweet and I immediately identified him as the enemy, bro. Like, I was neutral on this motherfucker. Like, yep, I hate this motherfucker now. And then, like, ever since I saw this tweet, fuck John. This motherfucker got his ass beat during the civil rights movement, fam. You guys know that? Like, that's one of his claim to fame. There's like a picture of him being a victim of police brutality. And now he's trying to turn it and make Black people love their oppressors. He wants us to love our oppressors. He is the most disgusting sellout that there is. And then meanwhile, when he died, people was whitewashing this motherfucker. And me and Ron was like, hell no, this is before RBN. But I remember people were so mad at us. I remember being wrong. We went to war on Black Twitter, bro. When John Lewis died, we was like, nigga, fuck him. He's the reason why there's a slave trade in Libya. Anyway, I'm going off track. Let me get back on track. Let's get back on track. So we was covering this. It's not too off track because John Lewis is one of these Negro servants like this guy here.
I hope Malcolm X got that motherfucker in the full Nelson while Malcolm punch him in his fucking stomach. Fuck that nigga.
So the United States is isolated itself on the world stage. The United States identified itself as a unapologetic genocide supporter to the world. The biggest act of let me phrase it like this. The biggest national security threat and what put Americans in danger more than anything else, more than Iran, more than China, more than Russia, was when Joe Biden did this. Do you guys understand how fucking angry, rightfully so, Muslims are around the fucking world? Bro, Arab leaders are getting their shit kicked in. for not pledging war with Israel right now, bro. Like I have my ears on the ground on this, bro. Like all these Middle Eastern leaders, they're getting their ass handed to them by
Erdogan and King Jordan, because those are the two I hear. They're the ones that kind of they're U. Those are two Muslim Arab allies, Jordan and Turkey. And if they go in, it's a wrap for Israel. It's a wrap.
And I'm just saying this for a reason, because even the Muslim leaders are doing the most, like the Yemen government, who
I was just about to say,
Yemen declared a blockade on Israel. Yes. And Yemen, I've been learning more about this recently. They have a long-standing history of being fucking freedom fighters against U.S. imperialism, which is why there was a genocide. Like there was a long history. I'm not an expert at this. I got to study more before I can pretend to be expert on this. But Yemen constantly fighting against Israel in the United States, which is one of the reasons why the United States did the crimes against Yemen that they did. Yemen as a country, like Leno said, I say you guys, Yemen is base as fuck, generally, as a country. And
they make them go around the whole fucking continent just to drop off some shit. They make them turn their ships around the whole fucking continent just to avoid the Yemens. Like that's some, like knowing that these niggas got nukes. Like, man, that's some gangster shit, bro. That's the most that's some gangster shit. That's like, dude, I don't know. It's like walking up to the biggest drug dealer on the block. Like, give me your shit, nigga.
So you have all these Muslims, and honestly everyone, because I feel the same way too, where you like, man, after seeing what Israel did to Palestinian children, all the war crimes they do, I just want to find a motherfucker and just motherfucker. I want to find anyone who's responsible for this shit. So guess what they're gonna do? Guess what a lot of these people who may not be disciplined may do? They just might find a motherfucker. So what I advise you motherfuckers to do over the next few decades or so is when you travel overseas, tell people you're Canadian. That's what I advise you to do. Because there's gonna be a lot of anger because of the foreign policy failure of the United States. Right? So now, the reason I pointed out, because the United States is isolated on the world stage, and this is a friend I need to bring back on the show. It's been quite a while.
I was gonna say I would love for you to revive that. I've been meaning to tell you that if you could just bring it
we
back
need to do that
once a quarter, that international show. I love. That's how I started learning foreign policy. Before that, I didn't even know. I was all domestic. I talked
to my friends at BetB, Kareem and Peter. I talked to Asal not too long ago as well. It's been a long time coming. We need to bring it back. Asal been on Twitter for a while. Like she kind of like quit Twitter, and then after October 7th, after the genocide happened, she's like, bro, I gotta get back in this shit, bro. And she killed the game
like crazy. Yeah, I've been retweeting her like crazy.
She's been killing the game since she came back. Look at this, 38,000 likes, 1.2 million views, where she calls out. This is Asal's brilliant gimmick. Like, this is her gimmick on Twitter, where she take headlines and she debunk them. Look at how they're reporting this. And I didn't even, like, this is why Asal is such a gem, because, like, now I'm like, damn, that headline is racist and shit. I don't know if I would have caught this at first, but look at the New York Times headline, where they was originally saying that Arab nations condemn the United States for vetoing ceasefire resolution. Why is that disgusting? Because this headline is meant for white Americans and white Britons to immediately create a us versus them scenario. They want them to think that the only reason why the United States voted against it, the only reason why the UK abstained, is because we are the upstanding white Western societies. Meanwhile, it's the brutal, barbaric Arab nations that support Palestine. That's what they want you to believe when you read this headline. Arab nations condemn U.S.? No, it's the vast majority of the world, as Asal Rab points out here. CJ, I know you want to chime in. I'll pass it to Rob.
Yeah, and because it's very, very important that you're showing this, because people need to understand the levels of propaganda and how one word changes everything. It is literally a science. This is not happenstance. His name is Edward Bernays. He's the one who developed propaganda as a science. Okay, so study him, or go look at our I Am the Revolution series. I covered this, and look at this headline where all you do is change Arab nations. Now you might say, well, why does that change anything? This is how propaganda works. They don't propagandize you on the word Arab nations. You know what they've been doing for decades? They just tell you they're terrorists.
Yep.
They're just terrorists. All propaganda does is create the fertile ground for you to believe the stupid shit they say, like this. It propagandizing you over years is so that when it's time to deploy propaganda and get a response, this is what they do. And it's going to get the response intended because they've been propagandizing you for years that these people are terrorists and labeling everybody terrorists and labeling this whole section of people terrorists. And it works, Nick. Like you said, this is not marketed to people like us. This is marketed to the white population that has been propagandized to fear the other. It always works on them, and it's working again.
Yeah, what's that? Romy, you want to chime in real quick?
Yeah, that just remind me of a video I did when I say the word thug, what pops up in your head? What group of people pops in your head? When I say the word terrorist, what group of people pops in your head? This is what propaganda do to us, you know. Even if we know we're not racist, but we have been programmed and propagandized to the point that black, Muslim, automatically. And this is what propaganda do to you, and it's gonna have people going out there hurting other people. I'm telling you, what the Zionists are trying to do, they are not only trying to hurt the people of Palestine, the people of Gaza, they're trying to get us hurt. They're trying to get us hurt, and they're trying to get the Jewish communities here hurt. They're trying to get the communities of the Jewish people hurt here for not standing in solidarity with them wiping out the Palestinians. So, because you have them saying, "Oh well, not in our name," and now they're doing everything that they can. They are assaulting these people. Nothing is happening. Nobody's getting arrested. People are getting shot. The little boy got stabbed. Right? Hate crimes are going to go up against who? The terrorists that they have been programming you to hate all of your life, even though they're not. But you look at them, you see a job, you see what their clothing, or they might not be from your neighborhood. They might be migrants, wherever the fuck it may be. But in your head, they are terrorists. They are thugs. I go in your neighborhood, you look at me, I'm a thug. You be ready to do something, but hey, it is what it is. We just got to make sure that we stick around and stand up for these communities. No, I'm not religious, but I'll be damned if some people sit here and just fuck with people because of their religion, or like, that's just stupid. It's all stupid to me. But we gotta stand in solidarity with the Jewish communities here and the black communities, and make sure that, because we're going to be targeted. These Zionists are going to target us, so we got to make sure that we do whatever we can to protect each other.
Here's and I've been having a good time following the fallout for this, because this is another one of those trigger things. Because people who advocated in their whole political careers relied on lesser two evilism, they was very happy when Biden was trying to take credit for the ceasefire, because they're like, see, in the evidence that Biden some sort of lesser evil. Oh, there it is. They killed him without getting it again. So they had like a 3-day victory where they're like, I told you Biden was better. Oh my God, he killed more kids. Oh, he's doing more propaganda again. So I'll just show you guys this.
Over Black Friday, though. Over Black Friday, where they needed to get more money from us to support more war. Of course, they like, come on, man. Ain't nobody falling for that shit. The kids weren't even falling for that shit. I went on TikTok, all the kids like, ain't this kind of suspicious that they did a ceasefire and right now when they want us to go out and buy more shit?
And it's
it's
disgusting because Biden was trying to take credit for a ceasefire that he didn't want, because he didn't want journalists and media to document Israeli war crimes. But then the ceasefire happened, which was a Qatari broker deal. And then they came out like, see, we told you guys we had a plan. Like, no, nigga, you guys was against it, as you guys are now. So this is people protesting Biden today outside of fundraiser. Biden should never have peace, and he won't because of this. He's fucked against Trump, as he should be. Here's Richard Medhurst,
And almost done with this part of the segment. Well, Richard Meadows says UN Security Council resolutions are legally binding. Israel has never implemented a single one. It continues to violate the UNSC 242 and others by illegally occupying and annexing the Syrian Golan Heights, the West Bank, and Jerusalem. Even if the United States hadn't vetoed the ceasefire, Israel would have ignored it and violated anyway. Israel will also continue to murder UN staff. More UN staff has been killed in this war than any war in United Nations history.
God damn.
Can you guys imagine if Hamas killed as many UN workers as Israel did? Can you imagine if Hamas killed 70 journalists in a few weeks? So that's why I'm going crazy. And we're going to be the most radical media outlet, apparently, because we're the only ones who have the balls to say we don't condemn Hamas, we condemn Israel. Even if you disagree with me, even if you, because you're so brainwashed, you can't decolonize your mind. Let's say you hate Hamas. Let's say your Hamas made your skin crawl. You can't decolonize your mind. You can't stand these motherfuckers. Okay, I accept that. If you hate Hamas, you should hate Israel way more. Way more. Imagine if Hamas did any of this. Imagine if Hamas killed UN workers and then said they are right to kill UN workers because UN workers are pro-Israel. Can you imagine what they would say? That's the stated position of Israel. That they are okay. They are allowed to kill UN workers because anyone who helped Palestinians are helping Hamas, which means they're fair game. That is the most radical position that any country has on war. Any country. We covered the Ukraine war. Even the Ukrainian government doesn't do that shit. Would they just kill anyone who's affiliated with the Russians? We saw what they did to Gunzira Lira. We see what people who do what they do to people pro-Russian, but they're not out here just bombing Russian doctors and shit. They're not out here killing UN workers who help a Russian. What we see now, Israel is next level shit. Now, this transition to my next statement, so I'm doing two in a row, and I'll pass to you after this, CJ. Because it transitions perfectly to the Bernie story. And if you have receipts on this as well, CJ, feel free to let me know. I'm doing it because I think it transitions well from this story. So I'm doing two right now. You can do the last one before I got personally leave. So here's Bernie Sanders, who this is his only legacy now. So CJ, in 20 years, do you think people are going to be like, man, Bernie Sanders, remember how he got the conversation about Medicare for all started?
Nope.
Remember how he advocated for forgiving student loan debt? No, nigga, in 20 years, the only thing they're going to be talking about, like, nigga, Bernie Sanders, you know the genocide enabler, the butcher of Palestinians? That entire 5 years, the 6 years that progressive, like fucking dream that we lived through, from 2015 to 2021, that's nothing in the barrels of history, fam. Those 6 years is going to be nothing. The only thing people are going to remember Bernie Sanders for is this. People don't. Do you guys think people remember people who lose presidential elections?
Nope.
No.
Not for long.
They do remember people who support genocide, though. They remember that. So here's Bernie Sanders, who refuses to call for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. And now listen to him repeat the same logic you will hear from Mike Pompeo, Anthony Blinken, Lloyd Austin, Donald Trump, and the worst warmongers in the world.
In terms of a permanent ceasefire, I don't know how you could have a permanent ceasefire with Hamas, who has said before October 7th and after October 7th that they want to destroy Israel. They want a permanent war. I don't know how you have a permanent ceasefire with an attitude like that.
So Bernie Sanders is the enemy of decolonization. So Bernie, how many dead Palestinians will you be okay with in order to get rid of Hamas? Right now, Israel got a good 1 out of 1,000 rate. For every one Hamas agent killed, they killed 1,000 civilians. So how many you want dead? I mean, we're around 20,000 dead right now. 60,000, Bernie?
Do you want 60,000 dead Palestinians? How about 100,000? Hell, let's raise it 200,000. Fuck it. Hamas is evil, right? Let's fucking kill everybody, right? That what you saying, Bernie? Do you guys understand what Bernie is saying, which is essentially the same position as Mike Pompeo, Dick Cheney, is as unhinged as it gets? This is the most extreme political ideology in the world. Everyone in Gaza must die because of Hamas. That is what Bernie Sanders is saying. And you want to know what, in a rational society, what will be the end of Bernie Sanders' career? This is it. This is what Bernie Sanders will forever be known for, CJ in Rome. AIPAC gave him a shout out. Damn.
Good Lord.
If AIPAC ever gives RBN a shout out, I'm deleting our account.
I'm gonna wake up and be, hey, Nick, I tried to put a video up. What's going on? Oh, fucking think that shit. AIPAC gave us a shout out.
It's over, nigga. I fucked up. I did a segment. They liked it. They tweeted it out. Sorry, you guys got your own channels now. Like, you gotta do your own thing. RBN is done. Like, we out of here. And they did, like, I'm talking like seriously, not like ironically. I'm talking like seriously. Like, thank you, RBN, for covering it. Nigga, it'll be over. Like, it'll be over. I put a plug on RBN. I retire. I'll go back to selling cards. But that's what they did, Bernie. But here's AIPAC. Thank you, Bernie Sanders, for your strong opposition to a permanent ceasefire with the mosque. And I'm gonna be honest, fam. I do think there's a part of AIPAC that's fucking with Bernie Sanders with this shit.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
They know he's gonna get the backlash. They know he's gonna get the backlash from his people. I think it's that more than him using them. I think it's that more than anything else, because they know the people who hates AIPAC the most besides radicals is the progressives. They hate them because this is the group that goes after them. This is the top group that goes after them is AIPAC. So you know them shouting them out is making them feel some type of way.
The thing is, AIPAC know what they're doing, but Bernie should never walk into this. Sorry, Ron, do you want to chime in real quick? Go ahead, Ron.
No, I think it's all funny, but I love that the world is seeing these people for like how we've been seeing them for the last couple of years. You know, I guess it takes longer than others, but hey, glad to see you here. Next time, pay the fuck attention, because when a nigga say, "Hey, something ain't right about these people," you're like, "No, you're wrong, dude. These are politicians. Something is wrong with these motherfuckers. For one, they're politicians, so something gotta be wrong with them. So, for two, like, dog, come on, man. We know, like, Bernie, only war Bernie was ever against was the war in Afghanistan, I believe. Every other war, he was all for it. Libya, all of it. So this is nothing new with Bernie.
My bad, Ron, but bro, people are never going to forgive us for being right about Bernie early. There are people in the professional managerial class, people in the Bernie Sanders cult that is now absolutely fucking done with him after this. And they're 100% saying fuck Bernie Sanders. But I explained to you guys the hard divorce I had with the Bernie community many times on the show. I went through a hard divorce. The same people who have Jimmy Dore derangement syndrome, they make up 1,000 reasons on why they hate Jimmy Dore. Oh, Jimmy Dore disagrees with me on health policy. Like, guys, anyone who tells you they hate Jimmy Dore because of the vaccines is fucking lying to you. No one cares that much. What people did is they hated Jimmy Dore for going against Bernie. He criticized Bernie AOC, and then they worked backward from the conclusion. Let's find something to attack Jimmy Dore for. They didn't say that to me. I know that because they didn't say that to me. The same people who hated Jimmy because of this hated me. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, the same people who loved me, who retweet all my shit, who loved my content, all of a sudden they hated me because I called Bernie Sanders out for the fraud that he is. And now those same people are willing to acknowledge that Bernie Sanders sold us out on a massive level. And for the sake of being nice, I am calling no one out who I'm showing you here. None of the tweets of the people I'm showing you here are the people I'm calling you out. I'm just showing you guys the general vibe right now. And they are getting thousands of likes for saying stuff that we said from the beginning of RBN.
Shit that we got canceled for. I got canceled. It was thousands of people in my head when I said, look, man, we just might be better under Trump. At least y'all niggas will pay attention. Oh my God, you said they reported my page, report this. Nigga, I woke up with like 100 reports. Like, what the fuck? Like, damn, they really trying to take me down? Yeah. But now you get to say the same shit. Oh, wow. I wonder what did it for you? What did it for you, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just read a few reactions and I'll pass it to CJ because if you have anything you want to add, and I'll pass to your next segment. They're not a long segment. I want to do these back to back because this relates to the ceasefire. This Bernie strongly supporting Biden. I'll just read a few reactions, and once again, these are not people I'm individually calling out. I'm just saying that the mainstream opinion on Twitter /X/social media has did a complete 180, and I am kind of salty. I'll be honest with you guys. To show you guys I got human flaws too. I am kind of salty that we will never get credit for this. You know what I mean? Yeah. The same people that calling out Bernie now, they don't follow me. They will never support me because they're like, oh, niggas just said shit for likes. Niggas is going after Bernie and progressive for likes. I still remember the wave of criticism I used to get. Mm-hmm. Now people tweeting the shit out like it's fucking Tuesday. You know what I mean? Now let me read some of these tweets. Apparently, you either die a hero or watch yourself become an AIPAC tool, wondering how anyone could possibly stop the mass slaughter of civilians. Bernie Sanders has turned into the biggest political disappointment in my lifetime. What a way to ruin half a century of decency and integrity. I would say that happened during the Ukraine war. So once again, I'm not attacking these people because they reached the right conclusion. But you guys see how they still had that Bernie worship in them. They wanted to like this motherfucker, but they can't now. I love these tweets. This is amazing. Once again, not attacking these people. Here's another one who I strongly agree with, and the number of likes that this got is shocking. 26,000 likes for this, CJ, where this guy says, I am embarrassed for ever having allied myself with Bernie in his campaign. I am ashamed. Fam, rewind 12 months ago. Rewind 12 months ago. Remember the question I asked Marianne Williamson about Bernie? Where I said, wasn't it a waste of our fucking time? I asked everyone this. Like, wasn't it a waste of our fucking time? Wasn't it a waste of $200, $300, $400 million to support Bernie? And Marianne Williamson's answer to that was, oh, man, if you feel the way you do about Bernie, don't vote for me. Like, the people always say, oh, man, you kind of harsh on Bernie. Dr. Cornel West said, man, I don't agree with what you're saying about Bernie. I don't agree with what you're saying. Like, I don't agree. I'm like, bro, I was going the hardest. I give Jimmy credit as well. I give Misty. I get the Convo Couch credit because it probably us in Rome, in RBN. Everyone, we was going the hardest on Bernie. And now, when I said that the left should have never engaged in the Bernie campaign, I used to get pushback. People say, well, at least we raised awareness because apparently raising awareness on the issue we're never going to get is worth $400 million.
You raising awareness on shit people already want. Majority of Americans already want better health care, better education, this and that. You ain't got to go through you ain't got to take them through no political courses for them to want that shit. Just go and ask a random nigga on the street, what do you want? And I guarantee you're going to say housing, health care, better schooling, a better neighborhood, whatever it may be. Raising awareness bullshit. Y'all was fundraising, building careers off of our turmoil. That's exactly what they was doing. And that's why these motherfuckers mad now. All these fucking fake ass leftists, all these Bernie Sanders leftists, these NATO leftists, they mad because they can't make no more, they can't make no more money off of that Bernie shit. Now everybody changing their name. Everybody been holding on to that Bernie name for as long as they could. And now everybody changing their motherfucking name. Everybody changing their whole identity because there ain't no more money to be made. And it is. I'm sorry, it is money to be made. But are you willing to sell your soul for that shit? Are you willing to go out, AIPAC? Are you willing to do what these motherfuckers doing, Richie Torres, all that bullshit? Right. All right, then. We see that we're going to really see who you, for what you really are. A fucking sellout, a mouthpiece. That's all these people were. Making money off of us. All of them.
So this is
absolutely
low key.
go ahead.
And I'll pass right to you, CJ. But on that point, before I move on, I said many times before, I don't regret, like, because I knocked on 1,000 doors. I was on the Bernie campaign. I sacrificed so much of my time. I talked to many people. I say in general, I don't regret that because I helped spread socialist ideals to my community. I helped raise awareness on issues. But that is absolutely not worth $400 million. So why I say I don't regret what I did on the Bernie campaign, you have to understand, I could have did the same exact thing as I did on the Bernie campaign, but under the guise of spreading mutual aid. You know what I mean? I say, and I still don't to this day. don't regret what I did in South Carolina because I radicalized so many of my brothers and sisters talking to them. But I do regret being part of the Bernie campaign because I could have did that without the Bernie campaign. You know what I mean?
Bernie do nothing but put you a ceiling. He do nothing but put a ceiling over you. Because when I'm out there, I'm talking to people and they bringing up shit I didn't even know that Bernie did, like support wars that I didn't even know that he supported. Right? So I'm out there. I'm like, oh shit, I got a freestyle off the top. I'm coming. He put a ceiling over you. Now we can just do it how we want. We can say and do what the fuck we want. Lead, as a communist, a socialist, however the fuck. You ain't got that fucking roof over your head or that ceiling over your head. Now that you're not under the Bernie camp. And back to these fucking cowards. Because I find it funny how this is the deal breaker, bro. This is the deal breaker, right? But it's only a deal breaker because Oz is on it. If people weren't locked in, they would try to skate by with this shit. They would try their best to skate by and still keep that Bernie industrial complex, that grift going. I'm telling you, just like one of our commenters just said, they would have tried their best to keep that motherfucking grift going because ain't no way you can see the Progressive Caucus sell the fuck out. Sell us out time after time. And just like, well, that it's okay because these are the best that we got. Motherfucker, if this is the best that you got, you need to do something. Y'all need to find somebody better. And we keep constantly calling them out, but y'all are the ones pushing back for the politicians. Y'all are stepping in the ring for politicians, pushing back on us when we were right the whole fucking time. So how the fuck is this the deal breaker? This is the deal breaker, but it wasn't a deal breaker when they was giving our money to the CIA agents.
In Ukraine, it wasn't either.
It wasn't in Ukraine. It wasn't none of that shit. But this, no, it's only a deal breaker because people ain't having that shit. You a fucking coward, and you made a career off of this shit. All these motherfuckers made a career off of this shit. You a fucking coward. You made your whole name up under Bernie, and you can't use it anymore. What do you stand for? Not what Bernie believe in. What do you believe in now? What do you stand for now? Right? Let's hear your own thoughts. You have none because you are a Bernie puppet.
Look at this. Look at this, Roman CJ. Once again, I am not picking on these people because I'm glad they're reaching the right conclusion.
I'm picking on their ass. Fuck them niggas.
Yeah, Rome can do that. I'll let Rome do it. But look at this. I still cannot believe that Bernie Sanders has, in 2 months, completely destroyed his legacy. 2 months, sir. You guys notice how Bernie just now crossed the line with these people? So I would say Bernie had completely destroyed his legacy for at least, and this is me being generous, at least over a year now.
Man.
Because Bernie ruined his legacy the second they started he supported the Ukraine war. You gotta notice how that doesn't even calculate for these people. And if I was gonna be radical, what I truly believe, I believe that Bernie truly ruined his legacy the second they dropped out Super Tuesday and supported Joe Biden.
Yeah,
so Bernie,
that's where I was gonna go.
Yeah, I swear, because I made I'm like, what democracy? We need to vote for Joe Biden to save democracy. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up, man.
So this tweet, and once again, not pick on this guy, not me personally. This guy got 77,000 likes, and there are a ton of Bernie people in here like, oh my God, I can't believe Bernie is doing it. Oh my God. They just now view Bernie Sanders as unacceptable for the last 2 months, CJ. The Ukraine shit, don't give a fuck. You know how many segments we did just playing what Bernie said, where Bernie is being a Biden apologist, and we like, bro, this is unbelievable. Bernie has no shame. As Bernie is doing all this Democrat sellout shit, they like, nigga, this nigga Bernie is dope. I still fuck with Bernie. I still like Bernie. I don't give a fuck if he's
gonna be all right.
And then Israel happened. Now they all canceling them. Bless their heart. Bless their heart. They finally found the red line. You know the kind of stuff that we've been talking about for a long time, supporting the empire, for example. In the Bernie industrial complex, the people who are attacking Bernie now, CJ, the people who are attacking Bernie now, but they didn't cover his Ukraine segments. How many segments have we done, CJ, where we cover what Bernie says about Ukraine, and we like, this guy is a fucking clown. And then David Figueiredo and the NATO left, they wouldn't cover those stories. Now they're covering this, though. Isn't that interesting? But anyway, so I'll wrap this up because I want to save some time for the Alex Jones story. Let me wrap this up, and then I'll pass to you because I can stay for the last segment
for the Alex Jones
Yeah,
segment.
yeah, for sure.
I know we're a little bit
Yeah.
long, but I have back segments here. So I'll just read a few more receipts. Almost done. Low key says AIPAC thanks to arm industry funded socialist Bernie Sanders for green lighting Israel's genocidal war on Gaza. So you guys see how when Bernie got shot out by AIPAC, that were everyone, like all the big people calling out Bernie right now. So now Bernie seeing this, decided to do damage control. Oh, you desperate motherfucker. So this is what Bernie tweets. I don't know if you saw this, CJ.
What?
So then Bernie tweets this out
Yeah, I
because
seen
he
that.
realized that his career as a progressive was just ended the second that AIPAC tweeted positive words about him. Even people who are far from the right from RBN. People who are far from right. For the sake of time, I'll show you guys only a few. If you search Bernie, I told you this morning, CJ. If you search Bernie on Twitter, you will see a wave of hate against Bernie, the likes I have never seen before. So because of that, now Bernie tweets this out. And if you check the time, this was around 3 hours after AIPAC praises Bernie. So AIPAC praises Bernie. If y'all know, I'm here 10 times now. AIPAC praises Bernie Sanders. 3 hours later, Bernie tweets this. Bernie got a tweet from a staffer. Nigga, Bernie, we got a emergency, nigga. We got an emergency. We got prayed by AIPAC. Nigga, we on DEFCON blue. Anyway, so because of that, Bernie didn't send this desperate tweet out. AIPAC is a right-wing organization that supports extremist Republicans and election denier candidates. Now they want to spend $100 million to defeat progressives. Whether AIPAC likes it or not, the U.S. must not give it a blank check to Netanyahu's horrific war policies. Nah, fam.
Bro, you just said. Hold on, what is it? Which one is it, bro? Is it no to a ceasefire, to a permanent ceasefire, or is it no money to the war?
Bro,
I don't get it.
You see how you see what the white moderate does? This is a lesson in white moderate. You see what the white moderate, this is Bernie Sanders. He's pretending to be down for the Palestinians by simply look where the threshold is of being considered an advocate for Palestinians. Just saying something, you're considering it. It's similar to just putting BLM in your profile, and then people think they're Malcolm X adjacent. It's a very like low threshold, but then the bar to be a genocidal maniac is high, I guess, for Bernie. But this is the problem with being a white moderate, is that you're playing both sides means you're gonna get the ire from both sides too. So AIPAC hates him and loves him at the same time, apparently, and then you get an ire from the left, which to me, the left is who's gonna hold his legacy. The left is who's gonna be the ones who pass down his legacy, because the right is not gonna be that. And what we're gonna pass down is that you're a genocidal maniac who only gave lip service. That's what it is. But go ahead.
That's why I say this is high key 3D chess move by AIPAC. Because remember, AIPAC is a fascist organization that wants no dissent whatsoever. You can say 1,000 good things about Israel. You can vote 1,000 good ways about Israel. But if you ever dissent about anything, even rhetorically on Israel, they will hate you. That's the relationship that AIPAC has with Bernie Sanders. AIPAC remember when Bernie Sanders pretended to care about Palestinians.
Mm-hmm.
So AIPAC is like, bro, you know what will be funny, bro? If we praise Bernie and get his people to turn against him, knowing that our people already don't like him, dude, that's a fucking great.
It's basically said, hey, we could never put up enough money. We could never put up enough money to get you out, but we can is fuck your legacy up with your people, and that's what they're doing. And I'm all for it. He deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah, doesn't that show the incoherent strategy of social democrats, though? That show how they got bent ass. Because now let's analyze this tweet here from Bernie. And isn't it interesting that social democrats and NATO leftists can't put these two together? Very basic common sense I'm going to put together. You see, Bernie Sanders says AIPAC is a right-wing organization. Me personally, if I was aligning on very important policy issues with a quote-unquote right-wing organization, that would give me pause. If I was aligning consistently with Mike Pompeo
on foreign policy, wouldn't that give you pause? So Bernie Sanders, you claim that AIPAC is a right-wing organization, but if they're a right-wing organization, why are you so willing to help their geopolitical agenda?
They're thanking you for a reason. Because they are not, like you said, they are not shy on their hate for Bernie Sanders or any progressive. They are open with it. So they are thanking you for a reason, man. You playing the games.
Like, why is it right wing? Because I mean, it's almost like, is he critique? Is like, does he know what he's saying? You're saying that AIPAC is all of this, but the organization that you just described is shouting you out as a good person in lockstep for what they want to do. The right wing stuff that you're pointing out, Bernie Sanders. You see how he doesn't see it either. He sees it. And he understands that the vast majority of cowbell left that follow him is not going to get this high-level chess game that he's playing on them.
Yeah. So do you guys remember the Red Brown Alliance conspiracy theory that RBN was getting? We was the only one, the first people to come out to debunk it. There was a bunch of morons, socialists, and communists on Twitter. And Rome, you know what I'm talking about. There are a bunch of dumbasses who pretend to be socialists and communists on Twitter who was being useful idiots repeating bullshit about the Red Brown Alliance. As I accurately point out that it was a psyop designed by liberals to advocate against class unity. So they would say, oh, you working with a conservative on healthcare, you forming a Red Brown Alliance. It's something that is completely made up. That is a social democrat fantasy because they want to tie communism to right-wing extremism. It's a social democratic op, which everyone in DSA fell for. You had the dumbest people on Twitter with these socialists and communists that was like, oh, I read theory. The Red Brown Alliance is real. You got to make sure there's no Red Brown Alliance. And I was like, dude, that's bullshit. The real Red Brown Alliance is Bernie Sanders and social democrats. The real Red Brown Alliance are the social democrats who constantly team up with fascists. The Red Brown Alliance was always the progressives that set Palestine. So remember what I told you guys? These people are masters of projection. As they was smearing RBN, as they was smearing Jimmy Dore, as they was smearing Combo Couch, as they was smearing all these people as part of the Red Brown Alliance. The real Red Brown Alliance was the social democrats and Bernie Sanders the entire time. Isn't that funny? But anyway, my last receipt, I'll move on. There was a long statement, but there's a lot to cover. Go ahead, Romy. You want to chime in real quick?
No. I'm just agreeing.
Did my last receipt and I passed to you, CJ. I stay a little bit longer just so I stay for your last segment.
Yeah, no worries.
This is Norman Finkelstein. Norman Finkelstein dropped the greatest diss track that I've seen in politics since I started in this goddamn game. Yeah, no, if you want to plot these diss tracks, bro. The diss track that fucking Norman Finkelstein put on Bernie Sanders is a legendary. Now, I don't know what the view count is now, but I remember when I saw it, it was like 9 hours in. It had like 90,000 views, bro. Because it was Norman Finkelstein just roasting this motherfucker after selling out to the Israel lobby. So I couldn't do a reaction video of it because the video is like 90 minutes. Like, there's no way we can really do it. I not do segment because it would have been too long. We would have missed too much, not really worth it. And plus, it's just better for you to just watch the diss track. Like, if you have time, go to Norman Finkelstein YouTube page. He released the best diss track of all time. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. The Squirrel on Twitter shares how Norman Finkelstein, well, he pretty much, they share a verse from this legendary diss track. This is Hit 'Em Up all over again. This is Norman Finkelstein telling Bernie he about to hit him up real quick.
Right at the despicable thing you said in the interview today, whether it was moral idiocy, whether it was exemplary of being a moral monster.
So that was the quote that got everyone talking on this video, where Norman Finkelstein called Bernie Sanders a moral monster. And I see one of the comments. Let me see if I can highlight it so I give you credit.
where Kinky explains how Norm used to be a Bernie bro. Yeah, he was a big Bernie supporter, and now because of that, he going so hard on Bernie bro. He's like, I cannot. He like shocked that Bernie is doing this, so he's going so hard. But let's continue.
And I think,
Or
let me.
whether it
I
was-
think
Yeah, go ahead,
this.
go ahead.
I think you know how you say you're seeing a bunch of Bernie people turn on him. He's the person that's giving them the
Yeah.
green light. Is this guy
Yes.
Norm? He's the one who's giving them the green light. Okay, guys, if I can do it, if Norm's doing it, because now they can lean on him as a source. Otherwise, Bernie was their top source when they had a source. Yeah, hey, no, Bernie said this, and it was like, oh, Bernie said it. Now it's like this guy supersedes Bernie. Norm said Bernie is bullshit. Now everybody, oh, Norm said
That's
that
a great
shit.
point.
Okay, and that's really
Dude,
what's going
CJ,
on,
that's
in
a
my
great
opinion.
point. That's a great point because Norm snapped all these motherfuckers last year during Ukraine. Because Norman Fogelstar, he never was a squad or Bernie apologist, but as someone who followed Norm, he always was like above it. You know what I mean? Like his position always was like, I'm above it all. Like it's not worth my time to talk about force to vote. You know what I mean? Not worth my time to talk about the squad and Bernie not being the people we thought they was. He always put him like Aaron Mate was another person. Like I remember when Aaron Mate, he used to be on the Jimmy Dore show. He's like, I'm not willing to call Bernie a sellout yet. Like I remember he used to say that stuff. Now Aaron Mate on his Twitter page is like, fuck squad, fuck Bernie, fuck the squad, nigga. They all sell out. Like seeing Aaron Mate involved on that has been hilarious over the last few years. Norman the same way. He used to be someone who used to never comment on like left infighting, progressive criticism. But what the squad and Bernie has done ever since the start of the Ukraine war, he's been a vocal critic, right? But anyway, let's continue this, and I'll pass you, CJ. That's pretty much. I had a lot of coverage today, but that'd be my statement for the day. I have another one on the anti-Semitism, but we're gonna do maybe 3 niggas, CJ.
Yeah, I already know because that was a segment I wanted to do. We got to do that because that's what's prevalent too. So yeah, we'll get to that probably tomorrow.
Yeah, because I can always add more receipts, guys. Because I'm gonna do it. I'll probably do a preview at the end because now they're just saying it where they like fuck free speech for Zionism. But I do preview later. I don't want to spend too much time on. Let's finish this video.
Free of being a moral monster, or whether it was cynical opportunism, because you're too much of a coward to break ranks with President Biden. I don't know which it is. When you oppose a ceasefire at this point, you are in effect and in fact, you are in effect and in fact giving Israel carte blanche to continue to indiscriminately target the civilian infrastructure and the civilian population of Gaza, 1 million of whom, or 1,100,000 of whom, are children. You have become a moral monster.
So that's Norman. Once again, CJ, way you play is great. I could show you guys more reactions, and this segment could have been way longer. Just showing you the amount of people who are now reaching the RBN position on Bernie Sanders that he's a sellout. Because a lot of people, their channel, they picked a theme under the Bernie wave. They are Bernie channels, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
They rose during the height of the Bernie campaign. RBN, we are post Bernie Sanders. We are the left that we didn't rise through the Bernie campaign. We rose to try and find solutions after Bernie. Like, what do we do post Bernie? What should the left look at post Bernie? So we are the post Bernie left, and the people who wanted to cling on to the Bernie industrial complex, that shit is done. Like that short rise that they had. That's why you notice the people who their claim to fame was attached themselves to Bernie. You notice that they are just Democrats now. Like I'm talking about like the David Pacmans, the David Figueiredos, the Mike Figueiredos, and all those people who used to be Bernie bros, they are just now standard Democrats. We talking about the everyday Norman. You know, Trump, he denied January 6th. You know, Trump got this trial. You hear about Ketanji Brown Jackson. You hear about what Lindsey Graham said. You hear about what this Republican said. That's all the Bernie channels now. It's just Republican reaction channels. But RBN, we was here from day one calling out the professional managerial class. We made a lot of enemies doing it. But now we are in a new politics. Then my last statement, I know I went really long, I apologize for SCJ. But then my last statement on this. We're in a post left-right game. You know what I mean? Where people say it's left-right, us versus them. You know what I mean? People are so confused right now on politics when they're like these alliances being made with people who against the Ukraine war. People who realize they're not really capitalist. They will never say it, but they're not really capitalist. They actually hate the mode of production and the centralized power that comes with capitalism. So we have a temporary alliance. Like we are the leftists who oppose mandates. We are the left who oppose the Ukraine war. And then there are people who oppose the Ukraine war, more libertarian, more on the right, people who are principled on the right who call out the Israel war. We are fighting the establishment, while everyone who used to be considered on the left, like the easy to understand left to right dynamic. The former left, you splintered to where we are at, or you became a Democrat. And then you have the right who either splintered into we questioning the Ukraine war and the rhinos and the Republican establishment.
Never Trumpers.
Are you just going along with the establishment? Like the politics from 2016 is completely different, and it's never going to be the same again, especially after October 7th. From now on, and this is my prediction, from now on, it's going to be Zionists or anti-Zionists. And I'm going to cover this more in detail tomorrow. I'll pass to you, CJ, because when you see them restricting free speech rights, when you see the right openly team up with the Nancy Pelosi's, we have Bernie Sanders that called out AIPAC as a right-wing organization, but then he locks arms with Lindsey Graham on the Israel issue. There's a new politics, and there are people who still don't understand that. They still talk about politics as it's 2015. Nigga, we are in a brand new shit right now where progressives are teaming up with neocons, where fucking left-wing Marxists are teaming up with libertarians or some things, and then we find out other things. Like, people still don't really understand how much shit had changed just over the last few years. But that's my last time to say. I went long, but go ahead, CJ, I'll pass to you.
Well, the Alex Jones segment is right after this. My final words is I'm just gonna read a tweet. I think kind of sums up, because you're talking about Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders is the epitome, is the icon of a lesser of two evil when it comes from a left perspective. He is the face that pushes lesser of two evil as far as the biggest face in the left. And this is what I tweeted out yesterday. Is about to hit 1,000 likes, so I thought it's fitting. And this is what I had to say. And let me put up this banner too, because it goes with this final part, and that's the lesser of two evils. In this tweet, I say, decades of voting for the lesser of two evils will climax in 2024 with a choice between ending democracy with Donald Trump or genocide, or supporting genocide with Joe Biden. So we either can end democracy or choose genocide. Over the social Democrats could never adequately address the fact that voting for a lesser of two evils would inevitably result in a worse choice each time.
Yes.
What's worse than a choice between genocide and quote unquote ending democracy? I don't know what's worse, but we will find out what's worse in 2028 if we don't dump the lesser of two evils of this lesser of two evil nonsense in 2024. And just think about it, guys. Our lesser of two evil choice is literally supporting genocide with Joe Biden or quote unquote ending democracy. Now, I'm using quote unquote because this is what they say. I don't believe that myself, but quote unquote ending democracy. You think in 2028 is going to go backwards? Like, oh, we're going back to normal now? No. All that's going to happen is just going to get worse. And that's what I'm saying. We need to stop this shit, because then the choice is going to be either oxygen or water. That's where we're going to get to. Either one of them is dead.
Are you guys mentally prepared to see Bernie Sanders, AOC, and all the progressive names campaign for Pete Buttigieg in 2028? Because know that's where the lesser to evil logic leaves us. We are in a situation right now because of lesser two evils. That's why I told Vosh and their people, like, if you vote for a lesser two evil, that will only enable the Democratic Party to shift to the right. And Vosh and the Social Democrats lesser two evil themselves into a genocide. The standards became so low, you have a genocide. And now, last time I was saying, I passed to Rome, and now I passed to CJ for the last segment. The saving democracy thing is like so desperate. It shows that Democrats are panicking because, as you guys see, with foreign policy issue, even on the border, despite what Republicans lie about, Biden has been tougher on the border than Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Factually, he's been tougher on the border than Trump, but they pretend he's not. So Democrats and Republicans agree on the border. They agree on policing. They agree on economics, on trickle-down economics. They agree on Israel. They agree on Ukraine. So what do they have to do to separate themselves? Republicans, well, they want in democracy. What does that mean? What does that mean? So you're the party where 80% of your own constituents wants a ceasefire. Independents want a ceasefire. Your party and independents want Medicare for all. Your party wants all this progressive policy, but they don't get it. That is not a democracy. We live in a capitalist dictatorship where the donors and people who control capital, they are allowed to flex their political opinions, and they have political control of this country. Romy, last thoughts on Pastor CJ?
I just want to, rub it in all these motherfuckers' faces, man. Because I love being right. One thing I do love is talking. And the next thing I love doing is being right about something, especially if I'm talking a lot about something. So, it's just I told you so moment right now, and get your shit together because you ain't gonna have too many. You Americans, y'all so privileged that y'all think that y'all got a long time to get this shit together. You don't. And just because bombs isn't dropping on our head doesn't mean there isn't a war against us. We are still in a class war right here, right now. And if you don't get your shit together, then they will for you. Trust me.
Yeah, I'll read the 3 super chats I see here real quick. CJ, and I'll pass to you. Thank you for 99 NK. Keep speaking the truth. Zionists are losing the PR war and going to start really going after the critics to make an example out of them. And I'm gonna save a rant for you guys for the next Nick and CJ show because you guys will not fucking believe, bro. I got this segment. I don't want to do it now because it's probably gonna be a longer segment because I got so much receipts for you guys. I'm gonna just do a preview now. This is almost like a preview of what we're gonna cover because this is actually a real fucking article. We're gonna read it out loud in front of the class. This is a real fucking article. I saw someone screenshot this on Twitter. I didn't think it was real. I literally Googled it and found it myself. Like, oh, this is a fucking real article. Broken by Finkelstein. To fight anti-Semitism on campuses, we must restrict speech. I even read the article because I was like, does she really make an argument? Yes, she is. This is not a short segment. That's why I'm saving it for next show. That's a preview. We're going to go through the article. You have Zionists that are importing their fascist anti-free ideology. We're going to cover that later this week. That's just a preview. I don't want to do it now because we don't got enough time. I'll probably cover it.
Yeah, I was preparing the same segment, so we're on the same page. We'll hook up later to do that this week because that's a lot. There's a lot of receipts on that.
Because we got like 2 segments to watch on it too. So I don't want to. It's such an important.
We can't shortchange that. We can't shortchange that.
I cannot stress the importance of how much Zionism is a threat. And that's been, CJ, I've been covering this for weeks now. The whole anti-Semitism psyop. I spied this shit immediately. Like, I immediately acknowledged it as a threat. Now you have op-eds being written about how we got to restrict free speech. And now campuses are implementing that because you have Zionist capitalist donors who pull the strings of these universities. So what do you do if you want to control education as a capitalist? If you don't forcibly restrict the free speech of your students, I'm going to pull my $100 million donation. That's literally what happened. You had a capitalist who pulled their $100 million donation in order to pressure campuses to enforce anti-free speech policies. And they are being successful right now, fam. The biggest threat, as I said many times on the channel, to American free speech and rights is Zionism. But let's continue. That's a segment for tomorrow. You guys think that was a long preface? Wait till we get into it. It's Washington's been crazy, man. It's been crazy. Thanks for the 199. Sam, the DSA ties supported Nazi Ukraine funding. You notice they haven't been talking about this issue at all. I've been waiting. Are they gonna explain their position? Because the establishment is now like kind of fucking over.
Yeah.
So what do Matt Duss say now? Remember CJ? Remember Matt Duss, who said that we had to fight against Russia and defeat Russia? Do they now agree with the mainstream consensus in Washington that the war is over? Or do they disagree with the neocons, and do they believe that we should wage more war? Are they going to outflank these motherfuckers on the right, or are they going to admit that we should have been pursuing peace? Now, if they admit that we should have been pursuing peace, the question that comes to the NATO left after that is, why do you wait so long? Why do you wait until after the establishment to give you permission to question the Ukraine war? Fam, I'm never going to let these people forget it. These people have no idea how much they ruined their credibility by supporting the Ukraine war, but I need to hurry up. So thank you for this last super chat. Thank you for the $5 Baz, the Yao. Hey guys, how come you haven't had Dr. Shiva on our being yet? Anti-Zionist, anti-establishment, pro-worker, and running independent. You should get in touch. I had their staff reach out to me. I just couldn't figure out time. I'm not really that interested.
I didn't know that. My wife asked me to bring him on too, and I'm like, okay. So I guess we can try. Yeah, I guess we can reach out to him.
I told you guys I wasn't interested in interviewing Marianne Williamson. She asked to come on my show, and if you watched the live stream before that, I was like, I don't want to do this shit, man, because you're not gonna be a politician to come on my show, and I'm not gonna agree with you. I don't want to fucking do this shit where you come on. Oh, I'm gonna do this thing where I pretend we'll fight for the people. Oh, look at me. Even if I agree with Dr. Shiva, right? Even if I agree with everything he said, am I gonna come on? You gonna come on the show and you're gonna pretend that you got a chance? Like, that what we're gonna do? Like, to me, it don't.
The only reason we brought Cornel West because all of our questioning was about him building a.
And I was gonna get to that.
Go ahead.
Especially after seeing the Dr. Cornel West thing, where to me, like when I look back at that, like to me, it was clear that Dr. Cornel West wanted a media yes man. Like that's what that was. Like they wanted someone that could be there to cover them. And I don't want that at all. Like we're here to be critical. We're not here to buddy up with any candidate. We're gonna ask hard questions. We're gonna tell you how we feel because there are people in Dr. Cornel West camp like, oh my God, RBN, you betrayed Dr. Cornel West because you didn't like his answer on the. You guys see how the people even saying that RBN betrayed Dr. Cornel West? I don't even want that shit to be possible. Why y'all even tying us to a candidate? That I said at the very beginning I didn't want that. And there was like a coordinated effort on like Dr. Cornel West behalf to try and tie us to them. And that's why they got mad when we started criticizing them. I'm like, or do you guys think we wasn't going to criticize him because he came on our show? Like, that's why. Anyway, I spare you guys.
I can't tell people.
I'm like, bro, I'm not doing candid, bro. I don't care how much we agree because there's like almost like there's like an unspoken agreement where I came on your show, so you gotta be thankful. You gotta cover us nicely.
Nah.
Like, and that's anyway. I don't want to get into drama, but there's like a lot of people in the Cornel West camp that was upset because we didn't agree to that unspoken rule. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Roman.
Yeah, a lot of people was mad at me after I had said something. Then I was like, no, I was taking up for Dr. Cornel West against somebody. And they was like, somebody was like, oh well, yeah, I bet you is voting for Cornel West, blah blah. I'm like, no, I'm not a voter. You're just wrong. I'm just taking up for him. You're just wrong. But I still had a whole bunch of people from his base come out like, oh, why aren't you, voting for Dr. West and blah blah. And I put another video out like, I'm not a voter. My job is to overthrow America, not to participate. Like, no matter how y'all see it, yes, it is good to have. Like I said, I don't disagree with a third party. I don't disagree. I do agree with having mutual power on different sides. Yes, we're gonna have to have different levels to this shit. People with the political mindset is gonna have to take these, these positions. But no, nigga, I'm not voting for that shit. Like, you're still participating in the system. I don't care about electoral politics, But I did get the answers that I want. I asked them about reparations, and that's all I really cared about. That was it. Boom. You gonna do something for reparations? I ain't even got to vote for you. You already get. Fuck it. Just do it. But yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, and Sabby also had Dr. Shiva on. That's another reason why, because Sabby already did an interview too.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's the chat. Everybody needs to understand. We're together. You got to watch our channels together. We purposely don't overlap a lot of guests. We purposely do that. So if she's covered it, I didn't know that. Yeah,
That's
it
another
wouldn't
reason,
be a reason you would go to Sabby's channel to watch the content on that because she's part of our organization. But unless you have more, I can go ahead and just move into this next segment. I do want to shout this out one more time because when we kept shouting it out, that's when we sold that merchandise. That's when we sold the amount that we sold, which we sold over 60 items so far, which for us is fantastic. And we're you might think that's not a lot, but for us that's fantastic. So when you go to our website right there, scrolling, you click on RBN merch, it brings you right here. Nick is wearing this shirt right now. He has it in black. You can also get it in military green. That's the name. That's not my name. It says military green. I would never name something military green. I would never do that. I call it olive green or dry green is what I would call that. And then sand color, you also got it in white. We also have hoodies. We have long sleeves. This is a hoodie. I think I'm going to get it in green.
I think it's a long sleeve.
Nick already has the red, so I think I'm going to get the green color so that it'll pop. You had a red on one time. I had a green on. You can also get this in a sand. You can also get it in white. And then you mentioned a long sleeve. We have a long sleeve sweatshirt, and then there's a long sleeve shirt. So make sure you guys know the distinction. There's a sweatshirt if you want it thicker, and then there's just a shirt, a long sleeve shirt, and it's not as thick, but check that out on our website, scrolling right there at the bottom. Now, let's get into this topic. And I feel like a lot of you, at least on Rumble, I know are here for this segment. And that is this segment on Alex Jones. Now, I'm somebody that's still learning Alex Jones. Like, I don't know Alex Jones. I didn't come up in the same spaces that a lot of people in this left space came up through the TYT, through the Ruben and Jimmy Dore. I didn't come up through that. I came up through radio. I came up through Tom Hartman. I came up that route to come to where we are today. So I'm still learning about this guy. It's good and bad. I think, Nick, you may know slightly more about him.
I can preface this pretty well.
If you want to preface who he is to add to this, because I don't know who he is in that to kind of preface.
Yeah,
go ahead,
so Nick. As you guys know, I am a guy who loves himself a conspiracy theory. You know why? Because the history of humanity is the history of conspiracy theories. It's the history of the ruling class coming together and conspiring something. And then we cover historically, they're like, yeah, this king conspired with this pope to do this thing. Like, that's a conspiracy theory. Like, there's so many historical events that if at that time, a peasant, like, the king and the pope is getting together to do this, to do that. Like, if they accurately predict what's going to happen, they get called a conspiracy theorist. Because a conspiracy theory is literally just a theory of people conspiring. That's why it's so weird that that term is demonizing, because humans conspire. That's what humans fucking do. In a conspiracy theory, it's just you putting together who's conspiring. Do you guys understand? Because of this, that's why I love conspiracy theories. Whether sometimes they come true, it's not really that relevant. It's a theory, like what's going on here. You try to piece things together, you may get something wrong. That's the scientific process. Now, as someone who loves conspiracy theories, and as many people who do love conspiracy theory, we look at Alex Jones side-eyed. I know you guys probably wouldn't expect that, right? Now, as someone who loves conspiracy theories, Alex Jones comes off as a Fed to me. You guys know? So there is this thing that establishment does where they will have people that will tell the truth, and then they will mix it in with like gay alien space lasers and shit that delegitimize the true shit they say. And people who've been conspiracy theorists for a very long time, like I say I am, true hardcore conspiracy theorists actually don't like Alex Jones.
Like Alex Jones' base is actually very normie, if you guys believe it or not. Because true conspiracy theorists actually think this guy's a Fed, and I lean more towards it because Alex Jones would drop a fucking nugget, fam. He was talking about the tortures of Guantanamo Bay. He was talking so recently about how Israel lied about Palestinian babies being beheaded. He actually covered that. He covered how the government lied about 9/11. He will cover real, true shit. Then he will mix it up with how we got government reptiles that believe in gay conversion agenda.
I'm just trying to stay alive.
You guys see the problem? So then the liberal who hates conspiracy theories, they will say, no, the United States didn't do 9/11. No, the United States didn't fund torture sites. You guys are actually taking that for someone who say there are gay reptiles in government. You guys see how Alex Jones actually serves the establishment?
Right.
The people who listen to him are actually normies. The real conspiracy theories, the real crazy motherfuckers like me, like I'm a crazy motherfucker. We view Alex Jones as an op. He is, and this is my own personal opinion. Like for example, he will say something true as fuck. He will get Russiagate right. He will expose Russiagate, and then he will say how Sandy Hook children didn't die. And then people are like, oh, you believe the person who said that Sandy Hook children didn't die? You believe him on Russia? You gotta see that's Alex Jones.
Right.
That's his job. But that's my long preface. But with all that said, Alex Jones, with all the crazy stuff he says, does not deserve to be censored. And I think that's the main thing of this segment. I went long enough, Ron, for free chime in. I'll pass it back to CJ as well. Go ahead.
All right. Turning the freaking frogs gay. Nobody should be censored. Only if, like, I don't know. Let me see. I don't know how I feel about that. A couple of niggas need to shut the fuck up, but I don't think the government should be the one to enforce that, because if we're going to talk about freedom of speech and whatnot, and then we dealing with platforms and whatnot, so we really have no real rights dealing with these platforms, so they can put whoever the fuck they really want to on there. They can bring a serial killer on there if they wanted to, or a school shooter that got out of prison back to them. So hey, I believe some people should shut the fuck up, but the government shouldn't be the one to shut you up. Shouldn't be the one.
Yeah, you should be shut. You should shut the fuck up based on the stupid shit you're saying,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
some other entity telling you. But let's listen. This is the first of many videos. They're all short though. This is Alex Jones. I think this is the first video that he posted. The first thing he posted once he got back to his account.
Elon Musk has valiantly restored myself back to Twitter. We've received several million followers in just the last 6 hours. I was able to interview him today for over 2 hours. That interview drops tomorrow.
Bro, by the way, CJ,
go ahead.
By the way, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I seen like 20 minutes of that. It's too much to cover. I was really thinking about covering, but it's too much. Bro, Alex Jones is the biggest fucking suck up. Like, bro, he was on the conversation with Elon Musk. He like, oh my God, Elon Musk, you're such a savior. You're so amazing. You're literally the fucking vanguard of the revolution and all this shit.
What?
And there's a point, like, bro, it's unsufferable. I might send it to you. I might, like, bro, there's a point I really want to cover, but it's too long. Like, Alex Jones is such a fucking suck up. And there was a point where Alex Jones, remember I told you how Alex Jones would say true shit every once in a while? In this conversation, Alex Jones brought up how Israel was lying about Hamas beheading babies. And then as he said that, Elon Musk was like, whoa. No, Hamas bad. We all agree. Yeah, even if the beheaded baby story isn't true, we all agree that Hamas like beheading people, right? So
what? He chimed in to say that?
Yes,
he chimed in to say that?
I may cover that small part because Alex Jones
God.
is going out in this conversation he's talking about. I'm sorry to sidetrack here, but the thing is important because it's like a 2-hour conversation. I'm about 20 minutes in. It's fucking fascinating. They got Andrew Tate, Alex Jones, Elon. I'm like, I want to see what the hell they're talking about. So I chimed in for a little bit. And Alex Jones was telling the truth about Israel. And Elon was like, whoa, hold up, bro. We ain't doing no pro-Hamas shit here. And then Alex Jones, being the cuck that he is, he was like, oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Hamas bad. Hamas bad. The conversation is pathetic. Meanwhile, I'll let the video continue. But what he's talking about, I actually did watch this interview where Elon Musk and Alex Jones is talking. It's very embarrassing. I don't understand how anyone likes any of these people. Andrew Tate. I don't like Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, Alex Jones. Like this whole conversation, was so fucking cringe, bro. Like I was watching it after like the last 10 minutes, almost like the same way I watched Morning Joe. Like, bro, this shit is so cringe. I can't stop listening. Like, this shit's horrible. But anyway, let's continue.
And that's why I stopped. I was gonna make a comment on the people. Why to me this is evidence. This is an exhibit. If we're trying to accuse him of being like he's a plant, like Alex Jones, having a podcast show with Tate, Gates, Musk, those are all, and Vivek, those are all.
Vivek was there.
Those are all used car salesmen, literally. Yep. You mean you had a powwow with a bunch of used car? And I'm a former salesman, so I know I'm using it derogatory, but I'm also a salesperson too, so I can use it in this manner. That's what I was looking at this as. Like, this only makes it seem less serious to me. That's
bro. That video on YouTube, God knows what it is now. When I watched it, it was like 6 hours after it was uploaded. That motherfucker got over 500,000 views in 6 hours on a replay, bro, on YouTube. So these are all these big names they got together, and it's unbearable, bro. Like, it's 500,000 people watch this. The 20 minutes I see, it's a 20-minute circle jerk. It's them getting together like, Alex Jones, you're so amazing. You're so brave. Oh, thank you, Elon. You're so amazing. You're so brave. Hey, we got Vivek on. Vivek, you're so amazing. You're so brave. We got Tate on. Andrew Tate. Did we ever tell you that you're so amazing? You're so brave? Bro, it's literally a 20-minute circle jerk segment, bro. It's so horrible. I have no idea why anyone watches shit. Anyway, let's continue. I just want to comment on the video they talking about, but let's continue.
At Infowars.com/show at 11 a.m. Central. Clips are already all over X, formerly Twitter. But despite all this incredible news, the deep state, the CIA, has been coming after us and has almost shut us down. We need funding to keep fighting. And I make it easy to fund the operation with this new book, The Great Awakening.
Like, this is so not a real, true conspiracy theorist.
He's not.
I've never known a conspiracy theorist to have great production value. Like, what is this? TV show looks like a TV show. Like, he has great production value. He goes right into promoting a book to sell and saying they need money when he literally makes. I hear he makes millions on top of a million.
Oh yeah, I was about to bring that up, CJ.
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys know at his peak, and this was discovered during the Sandy Hook trial. And it would. This is the only reason I know it could trend. Everyone was like, "What the fuck?" You guys know that Alex Jones, at one point during his height, was making $900,000 per day, fam. $900,000 per day. And I don't use the term grifter often, but Alex Jones is the greatest grifter of all time, bro. He got all these like fake health pills on his website. He's like, bro, if you take these pills, you're gonna lose weight in no time. Guys, those pills are bull. Those things are bull. He said all this bullshit on his website makes fucking bang. That's why the Sandy Hook families was able to sue him for like something like $5 billion, something crazy, because he make an insane amount of money grifting these very paranoid white people. He sold like these like post-apocalyptic sets. He like, man, the apocalypse is coming. You need this set. You need to find a way to make your own food. I got this set so you can make your own food. You don't know how to do it? Like, we got a 3-step process. You buy this kit, you can start making your own food. This motherfucker make so much money selling this post-survivalist shit, some pill shit. I'm like, bro. And that's another reason why conspiracy theorists hate this guy, because he just says stuff for clicks instead of actually finding truth.
He sounds like the ShamWow guy.
Yeah. So real conspiracy theorists like me, I will admit, I am a conspiracy theorist. We are about pursuing the truth. Alex Jones is saying shit to sell your product, bro. Like and there's so many times he would do this where he would talk about something dire, and he like, it just so happens I got the solution for. He would do like a 20-minute segment on something, and he like, if you want to prevent this from happening, buy my post-survivalist kit for $20. The whole segment was an ad.
That's what you call grift. But let me read this. I just got some receipts to read. This is from the African reporter that we all know. Alex Jones has been banned from Twitter for 5 years, but it took only one interview were Tucker Carlson to be reinstated. Tucker loves the U.S., doesn't have divided loyalty, doesn't wear flags from other nations, and stands for free speech. In one word, kindly describe this patriot. I had to put that on there because it was cringe, and it also had some level of information that was relatable to the story, which is the 5 years he had been banned from Twitter. Now I just kind of want to go through a couple of things, a couple of receipts here, and this one is next. This is how it got started. I showed you the tweet about Tucker Carlson having an interview with Elon Musk. They kind of talk about Alex Jones, for example. This is Elon Musk's tweet. I vehemently disagree with what he said about Sandy Hook, but are we a platform that believes in free speech, or are we not? Except for when it comes to Palestine, apparently, Elon. Except for when it comes to from the river to the sea, Elon. Yeah, this is what it comes down to in the end. If the people vote him back on, this will be bad for X financially, but principles matter more than money. Now, we all know that Elon knew that vote was going to win, and he's trying to make it seem like for the sake of free speech, I'm financially sacrificing myself for the sake of free speech to bring Alex Jones back, which is a complete
You don't care about free speech, bro. Imagine all the Alex Jones fans and all the traffic he's bringing to Twitter after bringing Alex Jones back.
Man.
This is a business decision. That's exactly why he's doing it. And also, I heard their conversation because Elon Musk hates he hates Alex Jones because of the Sandy Hook thing. Like, this is the T on this because hope I'm getting it right. But I think Elon Musk lost a child. I need to be careful. I don't know that for sure. But Elon Musk explained before why he hates Alex Jones and he hates Sandy Hook. So you know that conversation where Alex Jones and Elon Musk is talking. This is why it was so pathetic for Alex Jones, because he went in front of Elon Musk and essentially like, I didn't really say that. Please believe me. Please love me, Elon. Come on, man. Come on, man. I fucked up, man. I'm sorry. Please love me, Elon. Like, bro, the way that Alex Jones was, if you just bored and you want to listen to some irritating shit, the way that Alex Jones was groveling to Elon Musk during this conversation was embarrassing. And he went on his plane now all the times. He apologized to the family. He's like, man, I'm about to set up a podcast. I want to have these people on. I want to fundraise money for the family, to the Sandy Hook family. Because essentially he's trying to get Elon Musk on his good side. Anyway, I thought the video was very funny because it was like, man, Alex Jones was groveling to Elon in the most pathetic way, especially the Sandy Hook part. The Sandy Hook part was so debasing. He essentially was begging Elon to forgive him. But go ahead, CJ. Let's continue.
So, yeah, I just wanted to show some other receipts, just reactions here. Now, here's one that kind of has a sort of same thinking along the lines that that we spoke about, and I'll read. It says, just your daily reminder that true threats to the establishment do not become famous or wealthy or powerful.
Facts.
These men are controlled opposition. That is a base account. Yeah, and if you didn't see the people, it's Alex Jones. This person has listed is Elon Musk. This person has listed Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump listed in this tweet. That's one reaction to the news. And then, of course, a bunch of people started posting videos of what he has said. And I wanted to cover a couple of things with the same story, and it's not long at all. And that's this next one is this part here. Now, you spoke about the Sandy Hook. He was sued by Sandy Hook parents or family, and he was ordered to pay something like $1.5 billion to the family. No, and so he files some sort of bankruptcy. Now, so I'm fast forwarding through the story instead of going through each receipt, and I'm going to give you the final receipt here, and that's this final receipt. So he files bankruptcy, trying to affect, and he wants that judgment to be included in the bankruptcy, and the court has recently ruled on it, and the court, or the judge, I should say, rules that Alex Jones can't use bankruptcy protection to avoid paying Sandy Hook families. I'll read just a brief part of it. This is recent, not even a month old. I'm sorry, 2 months old. A Texas judge has ruled that InfoWars host Alex Jones cannot use bankruptcy protection to avoid paying more than 1.1, I correct myself, I said 1.5, 1.1 billion to families who sued over his conspiracy theories that the Sandy Hook school massacre was a hoax. The decision is another significant defeat for, let me close this pop-up, for Jones in the wake of juries in Texas and Connecticut punishing him over spreading falsehoods about the nation's deadliest school shooting. U.S. District Attorney Judge Christopher Lopez of Houston issued the ruling on Tuesday. Now, Jones filed for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy last year, and more recently, a more recent financial document submitted by his attorney put his personal net worth around $14 million. So just to give you an update on what's happening with the Sandy Hook, because this is the Sandy Hook, I would say, of the conspiracy theories, that is this conspiracy theory that made him like considered vile, considered like that threw him into conspiracy and the culture war, put him at the forefront of it. When that was one of the things, because of the gun control fight that is used as a culture war tool. Go ahead, Nick. You were going to chime in.
That's the segment that Alex Jones will regret for the rest of his life.
Oh, yeah.
Because and he's very open about this. Like I told you, I listened to for the first 20 minutes. This was the first subject. Like this was the number one subject. This is why Elon went to talk to Alex Jones. And Alex Jones talk about like, bro, Alex Jones talk about so much crazy shit. Like he talk about how like, bro, he was blindsided. Like he like did like one segment. He did like a segment on Sandy Hook. Then he did another crazy segment. Did a segment on Sandy Hook. Another crazy segment. And then all of a sudden, the establishment who wanted to take down Alex Jones was like, you're fucked up. We've got something on you that really gonna hurt you. And they destroy. Obviously, he's still filthy rich, but they took so much of his capital on this. And in the video with Elon, he explains like, bro, he heavily regrets doing this damn story, bro. Like, if he didn't do this story, he would have so much more money. They would have taken him for many different stuff, but it wouldn't land like this. Like the Sandy Hook story really, really hurt his credibility like nothing else ever did before. Like, and he definitely regrets doing that shit. Like, he knows that he fucked up. Like, and that's why I thought it was interesting when I listened to the Elon thing. Like, he knows the Sandy Hook thing was really fucked. That's why he like, I wanted to get back with the families. I wanted to help the families raise $1 million. And I'm telling you guys this because I didn't know he felt like this. But he's smart enough to realize, man, this shit hurt my brand. Like, this shit hurt my relationship with possibly Elon and other billionaires. So he like completely flipped and like, yeah, I was wrong on that. I fucked up. That was one of the things I got wrong. I want to own up to it. Hey, by the way, how many times CNN and MSNBC gonna admit they're wrong? That's like how he's spending now, and that's kind of how he went with Elon Musk. So, that one of the reasons why people think he was a Fed. The Sandy Hook thing was too far. He realized it was too far. But Alex Jones would say real true shit, like true shit that the establishment hate, and then he would say it's Sandy Hook that would delegitimize all the true shit that he says, and that's actually a bane to like true conspiracy theories like myself, I will admit, and that's why I didn't like RFK Jr. Because RFK Jr., who's a conspiracy theory, would say true ass shit, but then he would mix it up with Zionist bullshit. You know what I mean? Then he would mix it up with stuff like where like factually wrong stuff on some of his health criticism that was covered by like due distance other people. Like when you're factually wrong and you're willingly wrong, openly wrong by that stuff, that delegitimizes your other conspiracy theories. That's why I purposely show you guys receipts. I take a long time for me to put my segments together so I can show you guys I'm not lying to you guys. I try my best to maintain my credibility. So when I come with you guys with some crazy ass shit that sound like conspiracy theory, you're like, all right, what the niggas talking about here? I know this shit sound crazy, but let me listen to Nick because I know he never lied to me before. And that's how I feel about Alex Jones. When I hear Alex Jones say some shit, I'm like, could be true. I don't know now. Like with RFK Jr. may be saying some true shit. I don't know. So I heard him lie about Israel, so he may be lying about that. That's why you can't fuck your legitimacy, especially if you're going to be an anti-establishment fighter. Anyway, that's my last thought. CJ, I'll pass back to you. Anything else, or Rome, anything else?
Yeah, this 30-second video, I have Rome comment on it because this is the last video, and then we'll close.
That is taking the world over, that owns the majority of Hollywood, that's paid off the Democratic Party. And if you look at all these anti-white shows that you see in Hollywood, almost all of it has majority literal communist Chinese government backing that is funding this. So it's real simple. China looks in and sees this diverse culture, and they say, we're going to use that to split the country up and balkanize it. And that's what they've done. That is taking the world over.
I just wanted to
Bro,
show
you
you
are
that.
not.
Oh, yeah, he's not. He's a clown. But go ahead.
Bro,
He's a
you are
clown. Go
not
ahead.
anti-establishment if you're repeating the anti-China shit. And another reason why I see like maybe like 1 or 2 people commenting on this that were like upset because we're not. Bro, this guy been mad because I was roasting Alex Jones. You gotta know Alex Jones is a rabid capitalist anti-communist, right? Like, why the fuck would we like Alex Jones?
Right.
He's horrible. And if you are repeating the same talking points on China, on Iran, like Alex Jones do, you're not putting pressure on the establishment. If you are backing the duopoly, you are not anti-establishment. There was a point where Alex Jones was calling out George W. Bush Jr. Like, that's when he really became famous. Now, I remember before Alex Jones became this old-ass man. I knew Alex Jones when he was like this young, baby-faced, weird-sounding conspiracy theorist talking about George W. Bush. That's what I remember him from that long ago, right? He went from someone who criticized George W. Bush to now he's a standard Republican. Like, he's a Trump supporter. He's like, man, the deep state is out to get you. That's why we need to support Donald Trump. We support Mike Pompeo and Stephen Mnuchin. So that's another reason why
He likes Mike Pompeo.
He like.
I've never heard of a conspiracy theorist that likes CIA. That is clown shit right there.
That's why they're calling this nigga control opposition. I mean, he literally saying the same shit that the State Department is saying. What the fuck?
If you like Trump, you like by extension Mike Pompeo. You like by extension the DeVos family. You guys understand? Trump said he was going to drain the swamp and literally hired one of the most corrupt dynasties in America, the DeVos family, and put her in charge of education. These people was in charge of the mercenary groups that committed war crimes in Iraq. That is who Trump gave jobs to. So if you, this is how I view it. That's why, like, if you're a Trump supporter, you're supporting John Bolton foreign policy. You're supporting Mike Pompeo foreign policy. You're supporting Lindsey Graham. You know, Lindsey Graham is a strong Trump supporter. Remember, Lindsey Graham used to be anti-Trump. Now he loves Trump. Why do you guys think Lindsey Graham loves Trump? Because we know Trump is going to do some anti-China, pro-empire shit at the end of the day. So, like Alex Jones, like Andrew Tate, another guy people pretend anti-establishment, if you are for Trump, the same way you're a progressive for Biden, you are not anti-establishment. I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't give a fuck what Trump says. I don't give a fuck what they say. Their hiring decisions and the way that Trump governed contradicted that. And Trump is lucky the Ukraine war is coming to an end, because I made a prediction that Trump would have continued it. Everything that Biden is doing, I promise you, Trump will find a way to sell it. He was like, if Trump told you guys, well, if Trump told, I would say you guys, if Trump told his supporters and his sycophants that we had to support NATO to support America first, these motherfuckers will go along with it. That shit don't make no sense, but if Trump say it, they going with it. That's what will happen. But anyway, that's my last thought. CJ passed you. I got dip. I went a little bit longer. That's
it, and that's it. Unless Rome has something, we can read soup chats and get up out of here.
No, all I got is donate to the fucking library. I'm gonna be y'all can donate to the library if y'all want to help me get some more lumber and pay for the labor. I need about 500 right now to replace 2, 4, 6, 8. To replace like 7 beams and get some floorboards, some subflooring down. Let me see if I can.
Go ahead. I think you're gonna pull up. You're trying to pull up
why you pull that up from
your links so we can shout out your links to donate.
Why you pull that up? Let me read this. Thank you for the 899 business games AI. What are you organizing bottom up? Perhaps into a vanguard party or joining other. There's also Socialist Party candidate Claudia Dela Cruz. Yeah. I think that's who CJ supporting. I support her in theory, but they never be on the ballot in Missouri, so I support them in theory. But yeah, we organize our own organization, RBN. We're in coalition and solidarity with Black Alliance for Peace and many other organizations. But Rome got his own party. We got our own chapters. We're in alignment with a lot of people, but I decided we need to start our own shit. I want to do my own shit. best thing we can do is lead by example. So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna dip out as you guys shout
Yeah,
out.
you
Rome.
can take off if you need to.
I see you guys. I see you guys. We probably do 3 naked CJs this week because we got a lot of cover. We usually do Monday and Friday, but we probably do. I'll let you know either Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah,
we
we'll
either
talk.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll let you know based on how it's
we'll talk.
But I see you guys now.
Go ahead, Rome. You shared it. Go ahead if you want to shout out your shit.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be doing a Hail Mary. I just tallied up all the numbers that we need. We need about $12,000 altogether to get everything done. But for right now, this is what I'm gonna be focusing on. More trouble at the library. That's water damage. All of this is water damage. Everything has to go. Cut out the mold. I don't know why would they put paneling on top of that. But. And I'm trying to show. Okay, cut this floor out as you can see. And right here, you can see it.
Oh, you need to expand that. It's all minimized.
Man, that wood is rotten. It's rotten. So I had to cut most of this floor. I got to cut like 80% of this floor out and replace these beams from here all the way to the back wall. That's what I'm working on right now.
I mean, like, can you expand the video so we can see it? Yeah, hit that expand. Yeah, there we go. Now we can see it better. What you're talking about?
It's sinking in the. See, it's sinking in the middle, right there. So this is what I'm working on right now, so I can get the floor covered back up. I don't have the update of what I did yesterday, but I cut some more of this floor up. But it's unsafe for Connie, so I kind of need this floor to be back down. So this is what we're raising funds for right now. I'll cut it probably like right here. So we're gonna check these beams up if they still some good. If not, we're just gonna have to replace them. And they're not any good. I went downstairs and it is bad. But pretty soon we're gonna have a fundraiser up. I don't know if for the anybody caught the live that I did, but I'm tired. So the next fundraiser we do, this is gonna be it. I know I tried this before, it didn't work out. Nothing is gonna work out how you planned it, of course, but you can't just stop because it don't work one time. So I'm gonna go for a Hail Mary. I'm gonna go for everything that we need. I mean, everything from the flooring, the rest of the drywall, the rest of the plumbing, piping, leveling, the beams, everything. Because I'm tired of, nitpicking at this building. And if I can get everything that we need, I'll just be done. And that's what I'm trying to do. Be done with this damn library, man. It's really driving me crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I put a lot into it. You see, I messed up my hoodies, all my clothes messed up. But I'm trying my best, man. I'm trying my best. If y'all can, please donate to. I think I threw the links down here somewhere. Let me see if I can find them. That water damage isn't good. They had it was a water leak in that building for years, for like 3 years, and they are just now telling us once I got to ripping up the floor. So I put down the floor. I'm ripping up the floor, and I'm ripping up another floor. Then I rip up another floor. Then I rip up another floor. I'm like, hold on, let me call Pastor Holloway. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Why y'all got all these floors down? Like, they're not subfloor. They are floors that they just put on top of each other to make it look like it's not water damaged. So instead of using that money that the people gave him for God's temple, because there was a church, it went elsewhere because the damn sure ain't going to church. The water damage from the back, this is like 30 something feet. From the back wall of the bathroom all the way to the front wall of the office. That thing had to have been leaking for years, and it really fucked me up. So if y'all can, I'm about to be working on that, and after I get that floor done, we're just gonna Hail Mary everything. I mean everything. So I'm gonna be back with another fundraiser that's gonna basically cover everything. And if we can get a good grip, at least a couple of $1,000, we can keep it going. I'll be on the radio pretty soon with Misty TNT, so y'all check that out. And we're gonna be trying to push this as far as we can and try to get some money. But man,
So, all right. All right. We can close it here. Daughters are home, so I'm gonna get to them. Hopefully, I don't get sick. Usually, when my 2 daughters are sick, I end up getting sick like a week later. But we shall see. I'm gonna take some emergency and keep a mask on or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, stay away
what I'm
from
gonna
them.
do, but yeah, because I can't get sick. All right. I think that's it. I don't see any new super chats. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Our website is right there scrolling at the bottom. Man, Nick already has like 3 or 4 items. I don't even got one. I need to get at least one, a shirt or RBN shirt. He already has
man, I'm like,
like
damn,
a
every
white
time I get
shirt.
the
He has
money,
like
my kids got a cash app now. They always asking me for the damn. I'm like, man.
yeah. It's all she wrote. Once they get a cash app, that's it. That's it for you. No, that's it. All right, everybody. Make sure you donate to the RBN Library. If you want to go check out the library, just like the updates, you can always go to our website. It's scrolling there at the bottom. Outside of that, we're likely to be back tomorrow, if not Wednesday, if not both days. You heard Nick. We're gonna do probably 3 Nick and CJs. Rome, you're welcome to join anytime. Put that down, sweetheart. You're welcome to join anytime. I think that's going to be it. We don't got an outro video. So we're just gonna end here. Anything else, Rome, before I hit the button?
Nope. Y'all have a good time. Have a good time. Subscribe to our Substack and our Patreon.
Word. All right, everybody. See you later.